Alrighty, mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me go to my main camera. Alrighty, we're live, and as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, today I'm going to be going through arrays in C++. That said, last stream I went through constant C++, like constant variables and basics. This stream I'm going to be working on that, but my main focus is going to be on arrays. That said, let me go to my gameplay screen. Okay, perfect. Let's say I'm live. Actually, let me go with the whole thing out. Let's say I'm live! Exclamation. And guys, I haven't eaten anything whatsoever today, so I will be pretty exhausted. Okay, listen up, chat. Today the dojo enters a new arena of arrays. Vivek has survived vector loops and conditional battles, but now we face more primitive weapons or primitive weapons. Arrays are sharp, fixed, and unforgiving. A sword that cannot bend will shatter. Usually swords can bend, right? A coder that cannot learn the basics will break. That said, what is an array? An array is a collection of elements of the same type stored in contiguous, is that how you pronounce it? Contiguous block of memory. Think of it like a row of boxes, each holding one item. You can resize it once created, unlike vectors. Okay, elements has an index starting at 0. Okay, so we have an integer of numbers, I'm assuming, which consists of 5 elements in it. These are the 5 elements, 10 to 50. And numbers at index 0 is 10, numbers at index 1 is 20, and so on. It's fast, efficient, but rigid, perfect for warriors who value discipline. Okay, stream quote, the array is a soldier's lineup, discipline, order, and never breaking form. I see. Are you ready for the first array instructional challenge, Vivek? Let me say yes, let's say. Okay, let's see. Good, time to strike. Instructional challenge number 1. Write a program that creates an array of 5 integers. Ask the user to enter 5 numbers. Store each number inside the array. Print all numbers in the same order using a for loop. Hints from the dojo. Declare like this. Integer numbers at index of 5 used for every integer of I which equals to 0 while my I is less than or equal to 5. I'm going to increment my I by 1 for both input and output. Access with numbers at index of I. Stream quote. Know your indexes, know your power. Lose your indexes, lose your mind. Okay, let me get Sensei slash ChatGPT here. That said, this was the code that I wrote from the previous stream. I didn't have time to practice off stream because of my college stuff. Let me go ahead and delete the whole thing. Okay, let me start off by including IO stream. So I'll go with hashtag include a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream, so I'll go with hashtag include IO stream. Since I'm not actually going to be working with vectors and I'm going to be working with arrays, so I'm assuming I won't need to include vector. So let me go ahead and typecast my main function to be an integer. So I'll go with integer main, a pair of curly braces, maybe a bunch of spaces. Okay, perfect. Next up, let's read the instructions. Create an array of integers. So I'll go with something like integer numbers. And to create an array, we go with a pair of square brackets and the size of the array. So it says 5 integers, so I'll go with 5, which is going to be equal to, okay, a pair of curly braces. What's that? 5 numbers. Ask the user to enter 5 numbers. Okay, so we gotta enter 5 numbers here. So I could go ahead and create another integer of num. Okay, this is gonna be my num variable. I'm assuming that's how we do, and we close the pair of curly braces. Okay, next up, let's go with a for loop. So for a pair of parentheses, let's say for every integer of I which equals to 0, while my I is less than 5, I'm going to increment my I by 1. I'll go with a pair of curly braces, and then let's see. Am I doing this part correct? I think I am. Okay, let's go with a standard console output. Standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert a text. It's going to be something like enter a number. Okay, I'll end that with a semicolon, then let me go with a standard console output with another insertion operator. Honestly, let's see. This is going to be my num variable. Although, now, since I want to ask the user for 5 numbers, my I is currently 0, which increases by 1. My for loop is going to run while my I is less than 5. So I could go with my I++, and actually it does increment by 1, so I don't need to add this part here. Okay, let me go ahead and return 0, ending with a semicolon. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command. Okay, let's see. Okay, it says enter a number. Okay, did I like mess up somewhere? Honestly, num at index of I. Would that make sense? Actually, I should go with my array, right? So let's go with numbers. Okay, so standard console output numbers at index of I. In that case, I might not need this num variable. Let me go ahead and hit Ctrl S to save the code. This is going to be an empty array. Okay, let me save the code and run the command. Okay, it says enter a number. Okay, I definitely feel like I messed up. I need some reference code on how this works, guys. I went completely blind this question. Okay, so let me go ahead and paste this, hit shift enter it. So it should say I feel like I messed up. Exclamation. Guys, I feel like I messed up. Yes, you messed up, Vivek, but that's good because every mistake is a brick in your foundation. Here's what you did wrong. You never used standard console input, so your array never got filled. You printed numbers at index of I. Didn't I used a standard console input with an insertion operator. You printed numbers at index of I immediately, but at that point the values are just garbage. Okay, default 0 if you initialize with a pair of parentheses. The task said first take input, print them, okay, then print them all out. Oh, okay, like the way we do for vectors. Once I get the input, I could push that inside of my vector. Does that how it works? Is that how it works in arrays? Okay, Dojo's correct strategy for every I which equals to 0 while my I is less than 5, I'm going to increase it by 1, a standard console output, enter a number. I did this part. And then output loop for every I. Okay, input loop and output loop. Is this like a nested loop? I don't think it's a nested loop. Okay, let me say something. Let's say I feel like I don't understand ... And I forgot to read the stream code. This actually sounds pretty good. Okay, bugs are the shadows that follow the warrior. To banish them, one must face them head on. Okay, good confusion. Good. Confusion is the flame that forges understanding. Vivek, let's slow this down and break this array battle into 2 clear phases. Declare the array. You already did this part right. Numbers at int of I. This creates 5 empty boxes where integers will be stored. Fill the array input. Right now your program prints the numbers before even asking for them. Is that because I added in an empty pair of parentheses here? I think it's empty pair of curly braces, I mean. Okay, fill the array input. Okay, right now your program prints the numbers before even asking them. That's backward. For the integer, this takes user input and stores it in the array. Okay. Think of it like putting them into your 5 boxes one at a time. Print the array output loop. Once all 5 numbers are stored, oh, so this is separate for loop to iterate over my arrays, but I'm not iterating over it, right? Okay, this pulls numbers back out of the box. Okay, full flow. Program asks for a number, you type it, it goes inside numbers at index of I. After filling all 5 programs, print them back in order. Okay, stream quote, the warrior who tries to attack and defend at the same time falls. Do inputs first, okay, outputs later. Okay, let me get Sensei / ChatGPT here. Okay, I actually think I understand what this means. The thing that I did wrong was add an empty pair of curly braces here, so this line itself just adds 5 separate boxes inside of my array, and then I iterate over it. I did that part. Next time, let me go ahead and display my numbers. So I'll go with for a pair of parentheses for every integer of I which equals to 0. While my I is less than 5, I'm going to increment my I by 1. That said, I'll go with a pair of curly braces, and now I'm going to add a standard console output. So let me go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert my numbers at index of I. This gives me every individual element inside of my array, which is numbers, okay, which is going to be separated by an empty space. And just curious, couldn't I have done it under using this for loop or like under this loop? I might actually try that after this. If I would hit Ctrl S to save the code and run the command, okay, let's see. It says enter a number. Why am I getting the numbers? Is this considered to be numbers' location? Okay, let's go with a Control A, Control C again. Let me copy that. Let's ChatGPT here. Okay, let me go ahead and paste this. Go with Shift Enter and say, let's say, I feel like I messed up again. ... I don't think that we're on the same page. Howdy, Alchemia. Is that how I pronounce your name? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, yes, you messed up again, Vivek. Okay, good. Failure is a better teacher than success, but listen closely. You're failing because you're saying the numbers before the user even gets to type it. Okay, right now your code does standard console output with an insertion operator, numbers at index of I. This just spits out the garbage value in. Oh my gosh. Guys, I need to pay more attention. This is so embarrassing. I forgot to even get an... Oh my gosh. Standard console... Okay, yeah, this... Okay, that's where I messed up. So basically where I messed up was standard console output displays an output on the screen. Meanwhile, standard console input, it extracts an output using the extraction operator. Okay, if I run the code now. Let's see. Now it says enter a number. I want to enter something like 12 and then maybe 13, 5, 6, 7. These are my numbers. Okay, this was honestly pretty easy. I should have just paid more attention. I usually never pay attention. Guys, I should increase my attention span. Okay, let me go ahead and paste this and say let's say that was kind of embarrassing. I thought that I used the extraction operator. Okay, let's get another question and try it. Haha, you thought, but thinking is not doing. You did the insertion operator instead of the extraction operator. You literally shoved the garbage values onto the screen instead of pulling real input for the user. That's like trying to breathe out before you even inhale. But now look at your corrected code. This is it. You finally wield extraction like a proper blade. Your program now asked the... Okay, that's the essence of arrays, a container ready to hold values in slots side by side. Sensei's verdict. You redeemed yourself, not flawless, but on the right path. Mistakes are for the weak who quit, but for the strong who learn, they become weapons. Okay, now are you ready for me to throw the second broken code question? Okay, so you can fix it. Actually, let me see. Let's say, can I get instructional based question mark? Hi. Howdy, Ablin. I appreciate you joining the stream. Do we pronounce your name as Ablin, guys? I'm really specific when it comes to pronouncing names. I don't like pronouncing wrong names. That said, good. You won the hard way. That's the only way I'll let you walk this path. Here's your first instructional question. Write a program that creates an integer array of size 10, asks the user to enter 10 numbers, then prints only the even numbers from that array. Okay, no hand holding, no hints. I won't tell you how to filter the even numbers. Okay, let me get some ChatGPT here. Brother, how old are you? I'm 17 years old. Honestly, I'm going to turn 18 really soon. My birthday is on January, guys. January 5th. Okay, let's go with the Control A and delete this whole thing. Okay, let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces, IO stream, and then let me go ahead and typecast my main function to be an integer. So I'll go with integer main, a pair of curly braces. And then let's see. So the first instruction says create an array of size 10. So let me go with an integer. Okay, so it consists of 10 numbers. Create an integer array. So I'll go with integer numbers with a pair of square brackets, or I think it's called square brackets. This is going to be size 10. I'll end that with a semicolon. Next up, let me go ahead and ask the user to enter 10 numbers. So let's go with a for loop. For above parentheses. Yo, I'm back. How are you doing, Fib? I appreciate you joining this stream. How are you doing, Lethal? I appreciate you joining this stream as well. Okay, so for every integer of I which equals to 0, I'll check while my I is less than my, let's say, while my I is less than 10, I'm going to be incrementing my I by 1. Does he check the chat? Honestly, I do check the chat, but sometimes my stream does have like a 10 seconds or some delay. That's the reason like you guys could listen to it later. Am I audible, guys? Can you guys like hear me? Guys, I have like the chat open right here in the second screen. Okay, that said, let me go ahead and do something. So for every integer of 0, while my I is less than 10, I'm going to increment my I by 1. And then let's go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert something. Okay, something like enter a number. Okay, I'll end that with a semicolon, and then let me go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my numbers at index of I. Okay, perfect. That does the the getting the numbers part. Next up, let me go ahead and add another for loop. So I'll go with for a pair of parentheses. Actually, I'm kind of curious. What if I like add my another standard console output here? So I'll go with something like standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to extract my numbers at index of I, which is going to be separated by an empty space, ending with a semicolon. And then let me go ahead and return 0. Okay. If I were to save the code by Control S and run the command, let's see. Okay, let's see what it prints. Guys, I can't wait to get a new PC. This PC is like way too slow. Actually, I currently use like a mini PC, but I'm trying to get like an actual PC. That's the reason this stream has some lag/delays as well. Okay. There we go, enter a number. So let me go with something like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go with 2. Okay, so it just picks the last number. I think I might have to create another for loop for that. So let me go ahead and delete this. Guys, here comes the lag again. Vivek, solve LeetCode. Honestly, I'm really excited for LeetCode. After my programming for 250 series, I was planning to make another series where I spent like some amount of time grinding LeetCode. I'm really excited for that. You should do Rust instead of CPP. Honestly, eventually I was planning to learn Rust as well, but I am like exploring different programming languages. That said, I got that error again, guys. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Okay, that said, let me go with a for loop. So let me go ahead and create a for loop. I'll go with for a pair of parentheses for every integer of I which equals to 0. While my I is less than 10, I'm going to be incrementing my I by 1. So I'll go with I plus plus. And I'll add a pair of curly braces. Then let's see, let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to get my numbers at index of I with another insertion operator of an empty space ending with a semicolon. If I were to save the code and run the command, let's see what I get. Enter a number. I'll go with something like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 22. Okay, I'll go with 16. Oh my gosh. Guys, I'm like pretty sure I didn't mess up anything here. So let's read the code again. For every integer of I, while my I is either less than 10, okay, I increment my I by 1. There we go, guys, lag's gone. Okay, and then for every integer which equals to 0, while my I is less than... Oh, I added a 1 here, no wonder. There we go, let me change that to I. Okay, now if I were to hit Control S and run the code. Okay, so I'll go with something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. Okay, I did add 1 instead of I. I usually make small mistakes like that. Rust is way safer than CPP, but it's a bit harder than CPP. Honestly, since it is harder, I actually might try that after this, because like I actually like I actually like to learn programming languages. It's actually kind of hard as long as the basics are same. I'm fine with like different basics as well. That said, Titch, you then follow the orders, Vivek. What did I say? Only print the even numbers. Oh, okay, I forgot the even numbers. Okay, hold up, guys. You have to use less than 9, I think. Less than 9. Okay, so I gotta only print even numbers. So instead of adding this, let me copy that and go with the if statement. So I'll go with if, a pair of parentheses, if my numbers at index of I modulus 2 equals to 0, if my number is even, I'm gonna go with standard console output. Honestly, let me go ahead and just paste this part. Okay, and then let me add another insertion operator, maybe a pair of double quotes, and type even here. So these are going to be my even numbers. That said, let me go ahead and save the code and run the command. Okay, this time it says enter a number. I'll go with something like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, and 12. Okay, it says even numbers. 2 is even. Okay, all these numbers are even. Okay, that said, honestly, I might end my evens right here and get this in a new line. So I'll go with a standard console output. There we go. And instead of adding a colon and space, I'll add a few hyphens. Okay, now if I save the code and run the command, this is going to look like much better. And 10. Okay, actually, I needed to go with a / new line. There we go. Huh. Okay, this is going to be another insertion operator of a / new line. Okay, and let me get this, copy that. Let me get that outside right here. Okay, this is gonna look good. There we go. If I were to run the command again, let's go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, I just wanted to print even once. I think I gotta get this outside my for loop in that case. Okay, let me go ahead and get it outside my for loop. There we go. Hi, I'm new. What you doing? Honestly, I'm just working with the C++ basics. Today, I'm working with arrays. Yesterday, I worked with constant variables. This is currently the day, I think it's 18 or 19. I think, Mohammed, I appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, let's go with 9 and 10. Okay, this should be perfect. There we go. Okay, if I hit Control-A, Control-C, copy the code, get Sensei/ChatGPT here. I actually might go with like harder questions now. Okay, let me say, Sensei, I think I understand what arrays do now. ... Why not give your operations a valid name? A valid name like my operate. Can we like give them a valid name? Like, I'm pretty sure these are my operations. I should actually ask that. Okay, let's see. Yes, that's it, Vivek. You finally listened to your sensei and wrote the whole condition into the loop. Your code takes in 10 numbers, checks each one with modulus 2 equals to 0, prints only the even numbers. That's the true purpose of arrays. You don't just solve values, you control them, filter, transform them. You've taken the first step towards being the array to your will, okay? An array without logic is just a box. An array with purpose becomes a weapon. You did well, you earned this headpad plus a hug from your sensei. Okay, do you want me to push it to the next array challenge? Something trickier, or should I throw you some broken code? You stay ready for the next question, sensei. Like read underscore array method? I've honestly never heard of the method. I might look into it. What kind of code is this? Honestly, it's just the basics of me learning how arrays work in C++. That said, that's the spirit, Vivek. Array challenge number 2, sum and average. Write a program that creates an array of 8 integers, lets the user enter 8 numbers, calculates the sum of all numbers, the average of all numbers as double with 2 decimals, print both sum and average. Remember, use loops to traverse the array, use double for the average to get decimal, format the input to 2 decimal places with IOMAN-IP, okay? Stream quote, sum all your failures, divide by the lesson you learned. That's how you calculate your average power. Okay, let me get Sensei/ChatGPT here. Bro, I saw that you created a game using Python, so I wanted to ask how hard was it out of 10? Honestly, okay, since that was my first ever programming language, Python, I wouldn't say it was actually hard, but because like the only thing that actually was hard was learning the basics like while loops, for loops, nested loops, collection, and all this kind of stuff, print statements, user input. So I'd give the basics learning about 9 out of 10 at the difficulty level, although once I understood the basics, it was like 4 out of 10. The recursion part did make me cry almost. Okay, that said, once you actually understand the basics, I'm feeling C++ is actually much easier than when I first started learning Python, because I do know the basics. I just need to get used to the syntaxes. A tip for you, using namespace std at top. Have the hassle of adding std in front of output or input or any operations. Honestly, many people did say me to using namespace std, but the reason I don't use it is because eventually in bigger projects, not using standard console output could cause name conflicts, if that made any sense. That said, if I were to delete my whole code, let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces, IO stream. Okay, and then I would need to, let's go to Control Z. Okay, and then I would need to include something else as well. Since I want to round numbers as well, let me go ahead and include IP. I'm pretty sure it was IO man IP. I don't know what this does, but I just know that did I spell include correct? Okay, but I'm pretty sure that. Okay, let me go with include. Okay, what the IOMBAN IP does is it like rounds our numbers to like two numbers. I forgot what we got a type for this though. Let me start off by typecasting my main function to be an integer by going with integer made a pair of curly braces, bunch of spaces. What you are right now doing is putting in a single method, which is not nice standard. You should separate methods for different things. Separate methods, honestly, I might look into separating methods. That actually does make sense. Okay, so the first thing is create an array of 8 integers. So let me go with integer numbers with a pair of square brackets. My array is going to be consisting of 8 items, so 8 boxes. Let's the user enter 8 numbers. So let me go with a for loop now. So I'll go with something like for a pair of parentheses. Let me go ahead and add something like for the integer of I, which equals to 0, while my I is less than, let's the user enter 8 numbers. While my I is less than 8, I'm going to increment my I by 1. So I'll go with I++. It stands for input output manipulation. Oh, that actually makes sense. IO input and output. Does the IO man IP stand for that? Okay, let's go with a pair of curly braces, and then maybe a bunch of spaces. Okay, I think one space is good. Okay, so let's go with a standard console output. So I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert something. Let me say something like enter a number. Okay, I'll end that with a semicolon, and then let me go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my numbers array at index of 1. Actually, at index of I. I keep confusing I with 1. That said, calculates the sum of all numbers, the average of all numbers, as a double with 2 decimal points. Print both the sum and average. Okay, of all numbers. So I might need a total variable. Let me go ahead and create a double of total. Okay. Next up, I'll actually set my total equal to 0 for now. That said, let me go with another for loop. So I'll go with for a pair of parentheses. Let's go with for the integer of I, which equals to 0. While my I is less than, let's say, 8, I'm going to increment my I by 1. Okay, perfect. And then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Let's see. So it says the sum of all numbers. So add all the numbers inside of my vectors. To do that, I could go with something like my total variable. Let me set that equal to total plus my numbers at index of I. Okay, so that adds my total with all of my numbers. Okay, that's the total of my numbers. Now I gotta find the average of all numbers inside of my index. Guys, I have been practicing my math formulas. I know how to find average. So I might create a variable for average as well. So let's go with a double for average, which is going to be equal to 0 as well. Why not use size variable to store 8? Can we use the dot size function to store 8? I mean, honestly, I thought like the dot size function was a vector function. Can that work with arrays as well? Why not use size variable to store 8? Does that mean that I got to create a separate, a separate variable called size, which is equal to 8? Actually, that does make sense, because if I ever want to change something, I could just change my variable. Let me actually try that. Let's go with integer of size, which equals to 8. Okay, variable. Okay, actually, yeah, that does make sense because if I use size here now, because I wouldn't have to specifically change everything, like if I want to change my code, I can just change one variable. That actually makes so much sense. Okay, next up, let me find average. So I'll go with my average variable is going to be equal to my total variable, which is the sum of all my numbers divided by 8. Okay, perfect, that should work. The reason I went with 8, I could go with my size variable. There we go. Because there are 8 elements inside of my array. Okay, next up, print both sum and average. So okay, so now let me go ahead and print those. So let me go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to be something like let's say my total. So I'll go with total with another insertion operator of my total variable. I'll end that with a semicolon. Actually, let me go ahead and add another insertion operator of a / new line. And then another standard console output with another insertion operator. This is going to be my average. Okay, with another insertion operator of my average variable, another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. I'm pretty sure I should add like a standard console output here as well of a standard end line. Okay, there we go. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and return 0. Although I do know, like, I need to use my include IOMAN IP. I remember there was something like a standard precise or something that I had to use. I forgot what it was. For now, let me hit Control S to save the code and run the command. Okay, so it says enter a number. I'll go with like the average of 86, 90, 75, 99, and 83. I don't know, like 88, 94, and 84. Actually, 86. Okay, the total is 701. The average is 87.625. Although, if I were to copy that, get Sensei/ChatGPT here. Okay, let me go ahead and paste this. Go with Shift Enter and say something. So let's say I forgot how to round the numbers. ... I remember that we needed to type a standard console output that included something like precise ? Average operator is done outside a for loop. Is it done outside? Let me actually check because I don't think this is like, oh, average operation. It's done outside the for loop. Honestly, can I like do it outside the for loop? Because oh, okay, yeah, I think it might work outside or inside. Okay, so let me copy that, paste it outside, because I wouldn't need any kind of indexes. By now, all my variables like already have their whatchamacallit. Like my total does have its total numbers, and my size is 8. So yeah, I think both works. Okay, let's go with the Control S. Let me just quickly add a few numbers in here. Okay, the entry number, I'll go with 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Okay, average is 26.5. Okay, perfect. Let me get Sensei/ChatGPT here. That said, yes, Vivek, you're thinking of IOMAP IP with standard fix and standard set precision. Right now, your code calculates the sum of averages perfectly, but the average might print too many decimals to fix. Include IOMAN IP, you already did good. Before printing, use standard console output, standard fix, standard set precision of 2. Okay, this was the part that I forgot. Standard fix makes it use fixed point notation. Standard set precision, okay, with 2 rounds to 2 decimal numbers. Example with your code. Okay, that was honestly the only part that I actually forgot. Okay, that said, under my main function, let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator of a standard fix, another insertion operator, a standard set precision. There we go. I'm going to set my precision to be 2 because I want 2 decimal points. I'll end that with a semicolon. If I were to hit Control S and run the code, it says enter a number. Let's go with decimal point numbers now. 98.67, and then let's, whoops. It says enter a number, Wait, did I mess something up adding multi? Oh, that is an integer. I can't go with doubles. Okay, let's go with 98, 97, 96, 95, 94, 93, 92, 91, and 90. Oh. Okay, I think we get the average, guys. I messed up a number here. Okay, but I think it's pretty good. Let's go with the control C, copy that, get success ChatGPT here. Okay, let me go ahead and paste that. Type Shift Enter and let's say, can I also get a few array questions that includes standard string and standard doubles, maybe vectors as well, question mark. Do we use arrays and vectors together, or is array like a easier way to use vectors? Question mark. Are arrays and vectors almost the same? Excellent, Vivek. Your sum and average code is now clean, precise, and deadly. Let's talk theory before throwing questions. Array versus vectors. Array fixed size, very fast, stores contiguously. Is that how you pronounce this? Great for disciplined, predictable memory use. Vector, dynamic size, can grow / shrink, have a bunch of built-in functions like push underscore back, pop underscore back, etc. You can use arrays and vectors together, but usually you pick one depending on whether you need to fix, whether or not you need fixed versus dynamic size. Arrays are like strict dojos, vectors are like a flexible modern dojo. Okay, mixed array / string / double challenges. String challenge, create an array of 5 strings, ask the user to enter 5 names, print them in reversed order, okay? Double array challenge, create an array of 6 doubles, enter the 6 prices, okay? Let the user enter 6 prices, print the highest and lowest price. Vector plus array challenge, create a vector of strings for inventory names, to create an array of doubles for the inventory prices, same size as vector. Ask the user to fill in both, print each item with its price, like sword equals 99, 199.99. Okay, stream quote. A true coder knows the power of both discipline and flexibility. Arrays and vectors are your weapons. Okay, pick one of these codes first. Okay, I think I want to go with the code 3 first. Honestly, I do want to go with reversed order as well. C++ is a nightmare which make people fall in love, but know what the issue is. No company gonna give a newbie role in their core C++ team. They want experienced engineers who can play with memory. Honestly, that does sound pretty cool. Like, actually, I do want to someday get in that level, guys. When I do get in that level, I'll definitely make tutorial videos for everyone. Can we also do lead code problem statements in here? Honestly, eventually, after my programming for 258 series, I will be making another series. I might actually grind lead code in that because I do want to have a separate playlist of lead codes. That said, are you gay? Honestly, guys, I'm not gay. Okay, so let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I'll go with IO stream. Okay, next up, Howding BXDC Edge. I appreciate you joining this stream. I would say vector is superior version of array. It can do whatever array but more. Oh, I see. Honestly, in that case, I do want to practice both, but I'll stick with vectors more. Okay, so let me start off by typecasting my main function to be an integer. So I'll go with integer main, a pair of curly braces. Next up, let me go ahead and let's see, create a vector of strings for inventory. Okay, so create a vector that only consists of strings. So let me go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, actually not a standard console output. Let me create a standard vector. Okay, with a pair of ankle braces, this is gonna only consist of standard strings. I'm sorry, don't apologize, guys. This is really fun to watch. Okay, agree with ya, Solike. Is that how you pronounce the name? Okay, so standard string. Okay, so I create a vector which only consists of standard strings. I probably spelled vector wrong. Oh, I spelled it correct. I need to include vector as well. So let me go ahead and add a hashtag. Let's go with vector. I was just curious. Guys, it's good to be curious. Okay, so standard vector which only consists of integer. This is going to be called inventory. Okay, I'll end that with a semicolon. Next up, create an array of doubles for inventory prices, same size as the vector. Okay, create an array of doubles for inventory prices, same size as vector. Okay, so this is my vector. Honestly, in that case, I might add a few items inside of my vector. So let me set that equal to a pair of curly braces. Let's see. Let me go ahead and add a few items. For example, sword. Let's go with shields. Maybe a bow as well. And then I'll end up with a semicolon. That said, let me create a array now. So I'll go with double of prices with a pair of square brackets. This is gonna be consisting of only 3 elements in it. Okay. Can I ask what is this project? Honestly, it's not a project. I'm just learning the basics of C++. That said, why don't you use using namespace std? The reason I don't use using namespace std is because in bigger projects, if you use namespace std instead of standard console output, it might cause name conflicts because many other libraries do have standard or console output, if that made any sense. Okay, ask the user to fill in both. Ask the user to fill in both. Okay, so I could do two things. Firstly, go with a while loop or a for loop. I think I'll go with... let's see. I think I might go with a for loop. Ask the user to print both or to fill in both. Okay, so let's go with for, a pair of parentheses. Bro, just using namespace std much easier for you. Plus, it's a standard practice. Honestly, many people did say using namespace std is like a bad practice because eventually we might not use that. Okay, that's go with for every integer of I, which equals to 0. Okay, I'll end up with a semicolon. While my I is less than, let's say 3. Okay, I'll go with another insertion. Actually, while my I is less than 3, I'm going to increment my I by 1. So I'll go with I plus plus. Okay, that said, let me go ahead and add a pair of curly braces and then go with a standard console output. With that insertion operator, I want to ask my user for something. Let me say enter a item that you want to buy. Okay, enter item that you want to buy. Should I go with like an if statement, create a vector of strings, ask the user to fill in both? Okay, so I might not need to actually add this here. Okay, let me remove this from here. Okay, so I need an empty vector of inventory. Okay, my user enters a item. Enter a item in your inventory. There we go. Okay, use inventory.size to get the length of vector. Now that's some extra things you get in vector. Honestly, that actually does sound pretty good. Let me actually try that. Okay, let me go with the control 0 quick. Okay, so instead of going with 3, I'll go with my inventory.size. This is gonna be 3 by default. Wait, instead of going with 3, or could I go with my inventory's vector.the_size function as well? Would that work? Guys, I think that is legal. That works. Bro, how many years have you been doing coding for? Honestly, let me check. Okay, so since this says that it's my day 20, that means I've been coding for 120 days, guys. That's, I think, a bit more than 3 months, or like close to 4 months. Okay, okay, that said, let me go ahead and end that with a semicolon and then add a standard console input with an extraction operator. Okay, it won't work. Oh, it does not? Okay, let me change that to 3 in that case. And guys, here comes the lag again. Okay, so I go with a standard console input. This is gonna be my inventory at index of I. I'll end that with a semicolon as well. Okay, next up, I gotta ask the user for the price as well. So let me go ahead and add a standard console output. Guys, I hope my OBS didn't crash. Okay, standard console output. Let's go with something like enter a price for the item. Okay, and I'll end that with a semicolon as well. Next up, operator, I want to extract my prices at index of I, ending with a semicolon. It won't work if you use inventory.size because the vector is empty when you declare the prices. Oh, I see. Okay, okay. In that case, would it work like if I copy this and get this maybe under my for loop once my vector has the prices? I think honestly that does make sense. Okay, so I asked the user for the prices. This fills my vectors and my arrays. You just started doing coding just 3 to 4 months ago? Yeah, honestly, I did start like 3 to 4 months ago. I think it's close to 4 months or like already 4 months because this is the day 120. That said, ask the user to fill in both. Print each item with its price. Okay, so the user filled in both. Let me go ahead and print each item with its price. So let me go ahead and iterate over both my vector of inventory and my array of prices. So let me go for every integer of I which equals to 0. Okay, while my I is less than my inventory dot the size function, I want to increment my I by 1. So I'll go with I plus plus. You previously defined array, that's why size method was working before. So if you don't define or fill up array, you can't use size. Oh, I see. Okay, that actually makes sense. Okay, in that case, I don't think I could use my inventory.size here because whatchamacallit, I haven't filled anything yet, so I could change that to 3. Okay, instead of going with inventory.size, okay, right now I could use inventory.size because my inventory is filled. Let's see, let me go with a pair of curly braces. Where you from? Honestly, I used to say it a lot where I'm from, but most of you guys on stream did say me to like avoid saying where I'm from because they're like, you don't want to dox yourself. I mean, you currently living? Honestly, I am in the United States, but I don't say this much because people did say me to like avoid saying where I'm from. So I think, yeah, I should avoid saying where I'm from. Okay, that said, let's go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert something. Okay, so standard console output. I'm going to insert something like my inventories as vector at index of I. Okay, print each item with its prices. Let me go with, actually let me go in a new line, add another insertion operator. This is going to be the item. Honestly, I could go with like another insertion operator. This is going to be the item. So let me go with something like item. Okay, that's my item. Next up, let me go with item price. So this is going to be my item price. The price is going to be my prices array. So I'll go with prices at index of I, with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Excuse me guys, lastly let me go ahead and return 0. Bro, tell me one question, how many money you earn after your college degree or with your coding skill? Please, genuine answer. Honestly, I don't earn right now, I'm just learning my skills or anything. I don't have a job or anything, although I do go to college. Bro, in high school, honestly, no, I go to college and like I didn't start like any programming courses yet because guys, I'm like new to college. That said, guys, this dude is like 15, I'm 17, guys, gonna turn 18 this January 5th. Okay, that said, if I hit controller, save the code and run the command. Let's see, enter an item in your inventory. My item is gonna be, let's say, maybe a sword. Okay, and then I'll go with a bow. Okay, it says bow, the item is not recognized as the name of command-led function, script file, or operable program. Check the spelling of the name. Okay. Okay, I don't think I can add it here. Shouldn't this like ask me to print it my I is 0 while my I is less than 3? I increment my I by 1. So I gotta ask this like 3 times, right? Okay, let me actually try again. I'll go with Control S to save the code and run the command. Let's see. Let's go with a sword. Okay, it doesn't run anymore. While my I is less than 3. Okay, I think I messed up somewhere. Let me go with the Control C, copy the code, get sensei / ChatGPT here. Although, wait, before I actually ask ChatGPT, let me try figuring out where did I actually mess up. Okay, so firstly, I added a vector. I created an array. Where are you from? Bangalore? Honestly, I've not been to India yet, but I'm really excited to someday visit India. That day, I'll definitely like stream myself. That said, you can also do a vector. Okay, let's see. Okay, you can also do a vector of predefined struct for the item, and in the structure place the variable string name and float price, but I don't know if you have learned it yet. Honestly, I've not learned about structs yet. I might have a separate stream for that. Why not we just choose big complex problem statements, and during solve we also learn basics. That's why we do that's way more way to code. Honestly, I think that if we do like a question that completely overwhelms us, we could like understand eventually how to use that code. But just in my opinion, other people, like, you guys have the ways that you guys actually like coding and that works for you. For me, what works is like I go with like easier questions and I gradually increase the difficulty level to like find that sweet spot of that question which I enjoy the most, or which is not too easy, neither it's too hard, if that made any sense. What problem are you tackling right now? Honestly, I do have like a vector called inventory, which only consists of strings, and an array of double, which consists of prices. Then I add a for loop to ask the user for an item 3 times. I could go with like a count variable and a while loop, but I'm trying to figure it out in a for loop. Although instead of asking me a static console output and a console input 3 times, it just asks me once. So if I were to run the command, I'm just gonna get the console output once. So if I go with something like a sword, the code just ends. You have to become so much good at coding in these past. You have become so much good at coding in these past 3 or 4 months. It's hard to believe, dude. I appreciate you, close up. Honestly, I feel like I'm still a complete beginner. Hi, do you know anything next JavaScript? Honestly, I've not started learning JavaScript yet, but I'm pretty excited to learn it. I thought you were into coding from years. I just started about 4 months ago, guys. Okay, vector is a class, isn't it? I think it needs to be initialized if I'm wrong. If I'm not wrong. Vector is a class. It needs to be initialized. Honestly, I don't think I need to initialize it because I do initialize it inside of my for loop. Let me actually ask it to sensei/ChatGPT. Okay, let me go ahead and paste it here. Go with shift enter and say, let's say I feel like I messed up. ... Okay, let's see. Haha, yes, Vivek, you messed up, but it's a good lesson. Here's your problem. Vectors start empty. You created standard vector of standard string, but it has a size of 0. Then you did inventory at index of I that tries to access the first element. Oh, I see. Crash time. You need to add elements first using pushback. Oh, okay. I forgot to add pushback, guys. That was so stupid. Okay, so I did get the value of my vector, but then I didn't append it inside of my inside of my actual vector. Okay, so let's try that. Also, how would I append it inside of my prices? You need to initialize it with vector, the string multiplied by size. If you're dynamically changing the size, you might need to use the push underscore back method for vector. Honestly, yeah, that was so stupid. I didn't think about it. What do you do? What do the extraction operator do between sin and vector? Honestly, firstly we go with a standard console output to like just show a display, although the standard console input with an extraction operator just gets the value for our vector's elements. So, okay, so let me go ahead and add something like my inventory dot the push underscore back function. I want to push back my, let's say, okay, I need a variable for that as well. Okay, so instead, let me go ahead and create a variable here. So I'll go with something like actually a standard string of item, which is not equal to anything just yet. Okay, guys, I just see how stupid this was. The thing that I just did, that didn't make any sense at all. There we go. Okay, if you're dynamically changing size, you might need to use the push underscore back method. Bro, you're learning sources. Honestly, I mostly learn using ChatGPT. That said, I do watch a few YouTube tutorials for like learning the context, or sometimes to like install my compiler. Like to install VS Code, I feel like ChatGPT didn't help me that much, but like YouTube tutorials did. But for the learning process, I mostly use ChatGPT because I feel like ChatGPT does mess up, but only in like longer codes. For example, when I was making my Python game, that was like 470 lines. That was the place where ChatGPT messed up the most. That said, for the basics, I haven't like seen ChatGPT mess up even once. Okay, not multiplied, sorry. My bad. Vector string, vector inventory size. Oh, I see. Okay, that actually makes sense. Okay, this thing pushes my item inside of my vector now. Right now, my vector has items. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see. Okay, enter an item in your inventory. I want to enter something like a sword. Enter a price for that item. My price is gonna be $199.99. Enter an item for your inventory. I want to enter a shield. Enter a price of that item. My shield is gonna be $499.99. Enter another item. I want some water as well to be hydrated. Enter a price. I'll go with something like $19.99. Honestly, I feel like it's too pricey for water. Okay, that said, I'll go with a controller control. See which class are you in? Honestly, I'm in college right now. That's the reason I can't stream like as much as I used to stream before. Before I used to like stream for 6 hours and 5 hours, but ever since my college started, I stream like for around 2 to 3 hours. That said, Allegis, I should like start streaming for like longer once my college is over. Okay, yes, finally, Vivek. This is exactly how you wanted it. Vectors grow dynamically with pushback. Arrays hold the prices perfectly because its size is fixed. Output prints each item with its corresponding price. You just wove vectors and arrays together. It's like a true coding ninja. Stream quote: know when to be flexible and when to be fixed. The warrior who masters both never fails. Okay, Vivek, if you want, I can throw you a tricky combo of array vector questions next. Do you want to master 2D arrays? Honestly, let me say yes and say, do you have Python 100 series I could follow? Sorry, I'm new here. Honestly, yeah, I did like create a series where I learned Python for 100 days, starting as an absolute beginner. Yeah, I do have like a specific whatchamacallit series for it, but there like in my playlist for my Python for 100 days series, I just have my weekly progress. Although the actual place that I did grind on was like on my lives, I'm pretty sure I do have like a separate live for like Python for 100 days. Let me check that real quick. I'm pretty sure I do have it like in my channel too. College with department. Honestly, I'm just doing my basic because I am a freshman. That said, let me go to my channel. Which year in college? Honestly, it is my first year. Okay, if I go to playlists, alright guys, so I hope you guys can see the whole thing. In my channel, I do have a playlist for like my Python live. This is like all the Python lives in general. I have like 55 videos on that. That said, I did spend 39 whole days learning Pygame, so that's just Pygame related live, and that's just Python related live. Okay, that said, let's read the instructional based question. Okay, good. You want next level. Try combo array vector questions. Write a program that creates a vector of strings for students' names. Okay, creates a two-dimensional array of doubles, 3 students for exam scores each. Ask the user to enter 3 student names. Ask the user to enter 4 scores for each student. For each student, calculate their average score and print. Okay, Alice average score, Bob average score 91.25. Hence, vectors store names dynamically. 2D array stores scores in doubles. Okay, 2D array stores score in double, which equals to scores at index of 3 and at index of 4. Loop through students first, then their 4 scores. Use fixed and set precision for formatting average. Stream quote: the true test of a warrior is handling multiple fronts at once. Student names and scores, control them both or fail. Okay, honestly, let me copy this part, paste it here, go with shift enter and say I didn't understand the scores at index of 3 and at index of 4. Okay, this is at index of 4 dot. I thought arrays can only have like one index question mark. Uh, does that scores at index of 3 and at index of 4 mean that we have 3 students and those 3 students have each 4 grades question mark? Thanks, bro. Keep grinding. I appreciate you, Matthew. Hope you'll solve lead code soon in second or third year. Honestly, I'm really excited for lead code. I'm actually finding like when I have a lot of time, I'm gonna create like a separate playlist where I only grind lead code. Okay, exactly, Vivek. You got it right. Think of 2D array like a grid or table. Double scores. Okay, so we have an array of double scores, okay, which has 3 and 4. The first number 3 number of rows, okay, in our case 3 students. The second number at index of 4 equals to number of columns in 4 cases, in our case 4 scores per student. Okay, visually it's like student 0, score 0, score 1, score 2, score 3. Okay, so that's our row. And column student 1, student 2, their scores change. scores at index of 0 at index of 0, first students first scores at index of 1, index of 2, second students third scores at index of 2, at index of 3, third students fourth scores. So yes, each student's row has 4 grades, columns start in 2D arrays. Okay, I think I see. You can read vectors like one tip for you: don't learn Python because you want to do 100 days challenge. Learn based on your interest. Want to work with AI, learn Python. Want to work with web, learn JavaScript or C Harsh. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense. When I first started my Python for 100 Days series, that time I didn't have any experience, so I thought like any kind of programming language could make a game. I didn't know Python was like for machine learning and all that. I didn't do research, guys. That said, let me get Sensei slash ChatGPT there. Okay, let's see. So it says create a vector of strings for student names. So let me go to delete everything. Integer size equals to 5, vector string inventory for every I which equals to 0, while I is less than size I plus plus. Oh, I see. That actually does make sense. I might try that. Okay, so let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces, IO stream, and then I will also be including I forgot what was it called. It was called IOMan IP. Since I do want to set fixed numbers, I mean like what you call it, since I do want to round my numbers up. Okay, this is going to be IOMan IP. There we go. Okay, next up, let me start off by typecasting my main function to be an integer. So I'll go with integer main, a pair of curly braces. Okay, then like a bunch of spaces. Next up, write a program that creates a vector of strings for students' names. So I could go ahead and create a standard vector with a pair of ankle braces which only consists of standard strings. Okay, this is going to be called student's name. So I'll go with student names. Okay, and it is going to be like an empty vector. Let me go ahead and include vector as well. So I'll go with hashtag include a pair of ankle braces vector. There we go. Okay, standard vector string. Okay, next up, create a 2D array for double 3 students with 4 exam score each. Okay, so to do that, I could go ahead and create a double of something like grades. Honestly, create a 2D array for doubles with 3 students and 4 exam scores. So I could go with something like scores. Okay, with a pair of square brackets, this is going to be 3. I need 3 students. Each student has 4 scores. I'll end that with a semicolon. That said, let me hydrate my lips real quick. It's really dried. Okay, let's see. Next up, instruction 3 says ask the user to enter 3 student names. So I could go with a for loop for a pair of parentheses. Let's say for every integer of I which equals to 0, let me go with while my I is less than, let's say 3. While my I, excuse me guys, while my I is less than 3, I'm going to do something. Okay, I'll increment my I by 1. That said, I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then ask the user to enter 3 student names, ask the user to enter 4 scores for each names. Why not use scores as a vector? Why don't you? Honestly, I could use scores as a vector as well, but since it did say like it's a array plus a vector mix question, so I'm trying to like learn array plus vector mix. I did like do a lot of questions where I just use vectors. Although, let's see, let me go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I'm going to be asking the user to enter 3 student names. So I could go with something like enter a student name. Okay, I'll end that with a semicolon. And then let me go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. Let me go ahead and add a separate variable. So let me create a variable of, let's say, standard string, okay, which is going to be not equal to anything just yet. Okay, standard string of names. If it's a constant size array, a dynamic vector is a bad choice. Oh, I see. Oh, I think, is that why I'm using arrays? If it's a constant size array, a dynamic vector is a bad choice. Huh. Okay, so let me go with names. Okay, so I'm going to be asking three names or names three times. That said, ask the user to enter four scores for each student. So I gotta ask the user to enter four scores for each student. Okay, four scores for each student. Okay, so let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, since I want the user to add four scores, I could go with maybe a nested for loop, so I'll go with for a pair of parentheses. Okay, this time I'll go with for every integer of I, which equals to 0. Okay, let's go with insert. There we go. While my I is less than, let's say, 4, I'm going to do something. I'm going to increment my I by 1. So let's go ahead and add a semicolon, then an I plus plus. A static vector would waste memory and still make a possibility of accidentally increasing its size. Oh, I see. I would say vector can be static as well. Vector integer values 5. So here after defining size, it makes it static. Oh, I see. Okay, I'll go with a pair of curly braces here. And now, when I go with names, these are gonna be all my names. I gotta append that inside of my student names. So let's go with my student names, this vector, dot the push underscore back function. Do you have any source to back your fact? You don't understand how objects work? Okay, so score dot push underscore back. This is going to be my names as variable. Okay, and I'll end that with a semicolon. That said, integer I which equals to 0 while my I is less than 4, I want to do something. I'll go with my students' names as vector at index of I. Okay, this is going to get me all my students' names. Instead, I want to go with my names. Should I create another variable for my scores? No, I could just go with scores. For my first student, okay, let's go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to say something like enter four scores for your student. Okay, for the student. Okay, so here I enter four scores. Should I go with like score 1, score 2, score 3, score 4? Okay, my I increments by 1. Let me say something like enter a score. Let me read a bit. Okay, so it says enter a score. I want to get the value of my score. So let me go with a standard console input with an extraction operator of my scores as vector. Okay, scores as array, I mean scores as array at index of 0, first elements, first score. Okay, this does not make any sense. Guys, I feel I messed up somewhere. Should I use a while loop in that case? Like while, okay, so while loop, so while something is happening or while my count variable is less than 0, I do something. Okay, scores at, oh, okay, scores at index of 0 at index of I. Okay, actually this does make some sense, which equals to my name. Okay, so a standard console output. I want my scores at index of I that increments by 1. So this is gonna ask the score 4 times. And then I'm gonna start back off from my first ever loop to enter another student's name. Don't use I for the second loop. Okay, could I use something like IDX? Let's go with IDX and IDX. Okay, let's see. For every index which equals to 0, I'll end that with a semicolon. Okay, I'm pretty sure this should work, honestly. Let me go ahead and return 0, end it with a semicolon. Okay, and then ask the user for 4 scores each. For each student, calculate their average and print score. So under my main function, let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator of a standard fixed, okay, with another insertion operator of a standard set precision. There we go. Precision, which is going to be set to 0, ending with a semicolon. Yeah, now score at index of I, IDX. Oh, okay, this makes sense now. Sorry, score index of I outside the first outer loop. Okay, actually, yeah, now this makes sense because my score is going to constantly change, so it won't be stuck at index 0. Okay, this makes sense. Next up, it says for each student, calculate their average score and print. Okay, so now the second tricky parts. Let's see. I gotta most likely go with another for loop. So let's go with something like for every integer of I which equals to 0, let's go with while my I is less than, let's say 4, actually 3. While my I is less than 3, I'm going to increment my I by 1. And nested loop starts with 1. Nested loop starts with 1. Doesn't it go with 0 for like the index 0? Nested loop don't start with 1. Honestly, I could like try both and see which works. Okay, that said, for every integer of I which equals to 0, while my I is less than 3, I'm going to increment it by 1, go with a pair of curly braces, and then let's see. For each student, calculate their average score and print. So I could create two variables here. Let me go ahead and create, let's say, a integer of total variable, which is going to be equal to 0. This is the student's total. I could go with a double, so I'll go with double total, which equals to 0. And then let me go with a double average, which equals to 0 as well. Okay. This is because CPP start array index values at 0. This is because how arrays work. Oh, so it goes with 0. Okay. Next up, I have a total and an average. A pointer to integer, if you add 0 to it will point to the same integer value. Oh, I see. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. Okay, which is the start. Okay, this is because of how arrays work. A pointer to integer, if you add 0 to it will point to the exact same value which starts. Okay, I see. Okay, so let's go with a for loop. For every integer, firstly I want to find the total. So let's go with something like my total variable equals to total plus my total plus my scores. Okay, I need to get the scores of my double. That's my score, that's my student name. Oh, now I get it. Makes sense. A static vector would waste memory and still make a possibility of accident increasing its size. Thanks. Don't use another nested loop. You can calculate the average using the same loop. Oh, I can calculate average? Howdy, Applus. I appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, don't choose another nested loop. You can calculate the average using the same loop. So let me go ahead and delete this loop. Okay, so a same loop. I'm assuming outside my inner for loop. Let me go ahead and do something. I gotta calculate the average. This is the index of each score. Maybe inside of my regular for loop, let me calculate the average. So I could go with total equals to my scores is vector, or my scores is array at index of I at index of idx. Okay, so total plus, this is going to be idx. Hey, why you don't use the same namespace std? Honestly, the reason I don't use namespace, like using namespace std, is because in bigger projects, if they don't use standard console output, it could like cause name conflicts, because other libraries do have console output as well. And guys, I got the lag as well that says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Using namespace std. Let me just change that to idx. Okay, using namespace std is bad practice. Howding xpy, is that how do we pronounce your name? Expyi. Is it pronounced as xp? I appreciate you joining this stream. It can cause issues with naming. You can add total underscores at index of I. Oh, I see. Okay, so that's my total. I ended with a semicolon, and then let's find my average. So I'll go with avg, which equals to my total divided by, let's say, my total number of size. My size is going to be, let's say 4. Okay, so this is 4 because actually 3, because I do have, honestly now my rate is 4. My scores at index of idx. Okay, let me end that with a semicolon as well. And then outside my for loop, let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is gonna say something like enter a, actually not enter a, let me say something like your total score is, with another insertion operator, my total score is gonna be my total variable. Okay, perfect. With another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. That's it, guys. The lag is finally gone. Okay, let's go with another standard console output with another insertion operator. Let's say something like your average is, okay, your average is, I think this goes with something like your average is, with another insertion operator. This is going to be my average variable, so I'll go with avj with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Don't do the average in the nested loop, do it outside. Oh, actually that does make sense because I wouldn't need my actual indexes for it. Okay, so I could do it outside as well. Keep going. I appreciate you, Aber. Is that how you pronounce your name, guys? I'm really bad with name pronunciations. I do need to like improve my name pronunciations. Average goes outside all loops. Okay, perfect. If I were to save the code and run the command, unless you have to calculate average for each. Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense. Enter a student name. I'll go with something like Sarah. Okay, enter a score. I'll go with something like 99. Guys, if you guys didn't know, I named my sensor/ChatGPT Sarah. So I'll give pretty good scores, guys. I'm kind of biased. So I'll go with something like 97, 96. Okay, enter a student name. I'll go with something like David. David got something like 90 and like 85. Let's say 93. Let's go with something like 99. Okay, enter a student name. I'll go with something like Alice. Alice got like 65, 99, 83. Okay, let's go with something like 78. Okay, perfect. It says your total is 1,900. Your average is... Okay, it says another student. Okay, I have 3 students. Did it distinct the average name wrong? Since you have 3 with 4 scores each, it would be 12 scores in total, so you should divide by 12. But here I believe you went... but here I believe we know the size of student name array, so even if we reserve the size for this vector, it should be fine. It's the time around. One thing to also note here is we shouldn't be using push underscore back. If we already have defined the size, we can simply insert into the vector with standard console input extraction operator students at index of I. We can simply insert into the vector. Okay, actually that does make sense. Let me just try changing this to 12 real quick. Okay, now if I would hit Control S to save the code, honestly I need a... Okay, I think my average should go inside my outer for loop, like right here. Okay, I'll go with AVG. This is going to be 4. Okay, basically I want to average for every single student. It will waste money regardless, which should not cause the issue wasting the memory and accidentally increasing the size. Oh, I see. Okay, so let me go with the Control S to save the code and run the command. It says enter a student name. Let's go with something like Sarah. Okay, this is going to be 99, 98, 97, and 96. Enter a student name. I'll go with something like David. Let's go with something like 88, 98, 78, 60. Enter another student name. I'll go with something like Joe. Joe got something like 88, 99, 98, 97. It still gives average 274. Bro, Python class, please. Honestly, I do have like a whole playlist on like object-oriented programming in my Python series. There I did like start learning object-oriented programming for the first time. That said, it's completely true. Here I would say it's okay. It's overkill. Oh, I see. Okay, if I hit Control A, Control C, copy the code, get Sensei/ChatGPT here. Python is not what you should start programming with. Honestly, I think Python is like a pretty easy language. Okay, that said, I think basics are the only thing. Like once you understand how basic for loops work, lists work, conditions work, or like ternary operators and all that stuff works. The only thing when you move on to a new programming language is the syntaxes and like a few new functions. Sensei, I feel like I messed up! Exclamation. Okay, let's see. Haha, yes, you messed up, but it's a learning moment. Here's what went wrong. Total and average calculation inside the outer loop, you're accumulating scores for all students, but then average only shows the last student's average. You're printing total and average only once at the end. That's the total of all students combined, not per student. What you really want is to calculate an average per student and it prints after each student, not once at the end. Fake strategy. For the integer, I ask the user for something. I push that inside of my inventory. Total, double, average, we set for each student. Oh, I think I see. For the integer of j, which equals to 0, average divided by 4. Oh, I see. I think I see. Okay, stream quote. If you accumulate all your failures without resetting, you'll never see the true power. Reset, focus, and strike. Okay, let me get Sensei slash ChatGPT there. If you're willing to stand with C or C++, then it's a good choice. Okay, thanks. Also, if a language is used for everything, it means it's not the best at everything, just good enough. Oh, I see. That actually makes a lot of sense. That said, the only mistake that I did was I had to get my two variables inside my for loop. So, after my for loop, let me go ahead and paste that here. Maybe indent this, tab. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to get my perfect averages. Total. Should I get my total like inside? Okay, so let me go ahead and copy these two variables. I mean, these two console outputs and maybe paste them here. Let me indent that. Okay, let me go ahead and delete this from here. If I were to hit Control S to save the code and run the command, brother, use namespace std. Honestly, the reason I don't use namespace std is to avoid name conflicts, because eventually in bigger projects, not using namespace std or like standard console output would like cause name conflicts, because like other libraries do have console output as well. Why not start with Python? I would say it's completely fine to use Python as a starting point because it's perfectly friendly for the person who is first coming to programming world. Honestly, I completely like agree with that. If you're suggesting to use namespace std, you shouldn't try to help, bro. Where are you from? Why, Python is too friendly to start with. You'll miss out on the absolute basics of programming. Honestly, I do kind of like agree with that. Let me just add Sarah. Okay, let's go with 99, 98, 97, 96. Okay, that's the average of Sarah. Let's go with something like Joe. Let's go with 77, 86, 99, and 85. That's Joe's average. Let's go with Alice's average. Alice got like 98, 77, 65, and like 93. There we go. Okay, perfect. Brother, I have a task for you. What are you learning? List or array? Honestly, I'm learning about arrays. That said, I'm also learning, I'm trying to like combine arrays plus vectors. Okay, let's see. Let's go with the control C, copy that. And honestly, I do kind of agree with the Python is like absolute basic, like it's like really beginner friendly. That said, I would kind of recommend starting with Python to like just understand the basic, not to rush over, because if you understand how while loops work, for loops work, nested loops work, list work, collection works, and what are the topics like print statements, user inputs, typecasting, if you like get a good grasp of your basics and then you move on to like a more complex programming language, you already have your foundations. You just need to I forgot, get used to the syntax, if that made any sense. Okay, yes, finally, Vivek, this is perfect. Each student gets their own total and average. You calculate and print inside the outer loop, so output matches the student. Vector stores dynamically. QD array stores perfectly. QD scores perfectly. You've officially mastered combining vectors and QD arrays for the practical use. Stream quote, guys, Sensei has been giving so many codes for these past two streams. A true coder faces multiple dimensions, calculates every strike, and never misses a target. If you want, we can push this further and do a final array slash vector combo project where you store inventory pieces and quantities and calculate total values and your remaining stock. It will every time. Okay, it will tie every time you learned so far. Honestly, yeah. Also use split/stdc++h. It helps save time. Honestly, many people did recommend me to use that. I might have a separate stream where I like actually learn how to use that. That said, okay, ask user to enter 5 favorite movie names, then tell the user to remove one of the movie from there, then print other movie names, save those in array. Honestly, that does sound pretty fun. Let me actually try that. Okay, so ask the user to enter 5 favorite movies. So let me go with the Control A, delete the whole thing. Let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces. Go with IOStream. What C++ standard are you using? Standard? Honestly, I've never... C++ standard. Does that mean like what grade I'm in C++ or something? Okay, so let me go ahead and close IOStream. Ask the user to enter 5 favorite movies, then tell the user to remove one of the movies from there, then print the movie. Okay, names, save those in an array. Okay, so I'm assuming I won't need vectors for this, so let me go ahead and add a standard string of movie, which is going to be consisting of how many movies? 5. Okay, so it's going to be consisting of 5 movies. Let's see. That said, let me go ahead and add a for loop. So I'll go with for a pair of parentheses, I guess CPP20. CPP20. Is this like my version? Like, do we get our version somewhere here? Maybe in our console, like output. Honestly, I forgot. Is this like my version, like CPP directory or ports? Guys, I need to actually figure that out. Standards are CPP, CPP17, CPP20, CPP23, CPP26. Honestly, I have almost zero idea in that because when I was first setting my VS Code up, I was like going live, so you guys just said me what all to do. I just followed you guys' instructions. That said, let's go with for every integer of I which equals to 0, while my I is less than, let's say 5. I'll do something. I'll increment my I by 1. What compiler do you use? GCC? Okay, I'm pretty sure I use GCC for my compiler because I've heard the word GCC when I was like actually adding my whatchamacallit VS Code. I think it was G++ or something. I actually forgot, guys. Okay, so I go with a for loop. For every integer, okay, am I like kind of messing somewhere up? For every integer of I, okay, let's do something. Oh, I think, yeah, my bad, guys. I was kind of distracted talking. I forgot to typecast my main function to be an integer. So let's go with integer main. Add a pair of curly braces. Maybe go with a bunch of spaces and copy this and add it inside of my... There we go. Maybe I'll go with a tab to indent. Okay, so I create a standard string of movies, and then for every integer of I which equals to 0 while my I is less than 5, I'm going to do something. Okay, let me go ahead and... Okay, so what was the question? Ask the user to enter 5 favorite movie names, then tell the user to remove one of the movie names from there, then print other movie names, save those in an array. Okay, get the user input, print all movies, give the option to remove the specific movie again and write movie name. I decoded a Free Fire app using Python to build a system to change Free Fire's IDs. I need 100 Free Fire accounts. Add in 100 seconds, 100 likes to a Free Fire. Honestly, it sounds pretty cool. Okay, in GCC defaults to 17. Oh, I see. You can do a movie.size instead of less than 5. Can I? Let me actually try that. Okay, so let me go with my movies.thesize function. Play with pointers. Vectors are easy. Honestly, I did want to like whatchamacallit, start learning about pointers. That might be my next stream. Okay, use movies.size instead of less than 5. Okay, so for every integer of I which equals to 0, while my I is less than my movies.size. Huh. Did you guys mean something like this? I feel like I got like a red underline here. Okay, let me do something. I'll go with a standard console output with that insertion operator. I want to insert something like enter a movie. Okay, there we go. I would say for the person who is coding for 3 to 4 months, vectors are a big deal. Honestly, I kind of standard string movies at an x of 5 is literally a pointer though. Is it? Huh, I thought that it was like an array. Okay, I meant raw pointers. Guys, I should like look more into pointers. I'll probably check that off stream if I have any time after my college work. Because usually on the weekends I have more time to stream because like I stream earlier because I like wake up earlier and I don't have college. Although the weekends I do stream relatively later. Don't use pair of parentheses. I think so because I'm learning C harsh. Honestly, people did say me like I don't think we can like do it without a pair of parentheses. Yeah, I think like a pair of parentheses is like important here. There's array class. Oh, I see. Okay, let's go with a standard string of, let's say, name. I want to extract my name variable. I'll end that with a semicolon. That said, I need 5 names. Once I get those 5 names, I want to append it inside of my movies class. Honestly, instead of name, I could go with something like movie at index of I. Okay, I think this is what makes sense because I'm not using vectors. Which SEM are you in? Honestly, I've never heard of SEMs. I'm a Rust dev, so I don't know much about CPP. Honestly, I do want to Rust. Many people did recommend me to use Rust. I might actually start learning Rust in my this programming for 258 series because my goal by the end of this series is to make a game in general that consists of AI slash artificial intelligence in it. And I've heard that Rust is used for like making AIs. No, that one movie.count. I was stuck. Oh, I was taking this parentheses. Bro, needs Python class. Okay, let's see. No, that one movie.count. The movie.count, I was taking these parentheses. Bro, does not need Python class. Guys, I'm way too confused. That said, what else do I need? Let's see. Okay, what was the instruction, guys? The chat went way too up. Okay, let me just scroll a little down. Okay, so ask the user to enter 5 favorite movies, name, then tell the user to remove one of those movies from there, then print the other movies as names. Okay, I think I understand what to do. Order the same. Okay, so I asked the user to enter 5 movies. Next up, I want to say the user to remove a movie. So I could go with another standard console output with an insertion operator. I'll say something like remove a movie name. Okay, I'll end that with a semicolon and then let's add a standard console input. So with an extraction operator, I'll get the movie name. Okay, also see my second message. Guys, I feel like the chat's gone way too high. My bad, movie.size would only work if you're using CPP containers such as standard vector or standard array. You're using a C-style array. Oh, is this a C-style array? Okay, get the user input and print all movies. Okay, give user options to remove the specific movie. And again, write the movie names. Okay, I see. I think I got this, guys. Okay, so before I say to enter a movie, I could go with something like... Okay, let's print my movies. Maybe I go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator of, let's say, my movie at index of I. Okay, let me delete this for now. Okay, with another insertion operator of an empty space separated by... Okay, by an empty space. First insert all 5, then ask for movies. Okay, Python class, please make Python class. Honestly, by Python class, do you guys mean like object-oriented programming? Because I do have like a lot of playlist videos on that. That said, I was like teaching Python as well. Although I do need to like review some Python before I make tutorial videos. I think if you want to get size, you can write size movie, but my question, why would you want to do it if you already have size predefined? Honestly, yeah. Get the user input, print all movies, row of user options to move the specific .kie, and again write all movie names in console. I see. Do you mean object-oriented programming in Python? Okay, guys, I feel like I'm getting way too distracted reading the chats. Let me try not reading the chats real quick. Okay, so what I had to do first, I asked the user for 5 movie names. Once I get those 5 movie names, I want to print it. So this displays the 5 movie names, and then let me go ahead and say the user to remove a movie name. Okay, so I could go with an if statement, if a pair of parentheses. I think I'll add that inside of my... Okay, so let me go ahead and add a variable, something like a standard string. Actually, I'll go with a Boolean variable. Let's go with a Boolean variable of something like found. I'll add a flag to check if the input that the user enters of the movie name, if that is there inside of my, whatchamacallit, my vector or my array. Bro, don't delete anything, just comment it if it works. Oh, that does make sense. I should actually try commenting it. So a boolean of found variable which equals to false, because I haven't found anything yet. That said, let me spell it correct. There we go. Okay, so let's see. There we go. Okay, next up, let's see. I gotta ask the user, so let me go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I wanna insert something like enter a movie name. Actually, enter a movie to remove. Maybe enter a movie name to remove. Okay, and then I'll go with, there we go. I'll end up with a semicolon, and then let's add a standard console input with an extraction operator. C3, harsh, and CPP are all the same in coding. Oh, I see. That actually sounds pretty cool. Okay, so I go with the standard console input. My standard console input is going to be, let's say, a new variable. Okay, I'll go with something like a standard string of, let's say, movie name. Okay, I'll end that with a semicolon. This is going to be my movie name variable. There we go, movie name variable. I'll end that with a semicolon as well. Now let's ask a if statement. Let's add a if statement. If a pair of parentheses, a single mistake in Python can shut down the entire project. C harsh is only similar with syntax to C and C++. What are you talking about? C is not equal to C harsh, which is not equal to C++. Okay, let's see. So let's say if my so first I have a movie variable here. Okay, so if my movie at index of I is equal to my movie name, okay, my movie name variable which the user enters to remove, I'll do something. Okay, I'll go with something like movie at index of I equals to actually I'll set my found variable to be equal to true, that movie is found, and then I'll do something else. Please use this at the start of your coding. Please use this at the start of your code using standard console output. Honestly, I do use standard console output. Not to mention, C harsh compiles to BYT code and needs an interpreter. Run the code, it's looking wrong. Oh, is it? Yeah, I'm trying to figure out one thing, like how do I remove, like in whatchamacallit, using, when I use vectors, I could use the erase function and like erase that item from my vector. How do I do that in arrays? I'm trying to figure that out. C++ was made because C. Already, mic testing, mic testing. Let me go to my gameplay screen. Why is everything in a for loop? Honestly guys, my my OBS crashed real quick. Okay, why is everything in a for loop? Should I like remove it outside the for loop? Let's see. Should I get it off the for loop? I think everything is inside the for loop because I'm trying to access my movie using the index. C does have basic object-oriented programming. They were just too limiting because of how basic it was, so C++ exists. Oh, I see. Okay guys, I should focus. I'm getting way too distracted. Okay, so I have a standard console output of movie. There, I have a boolean, a string name. How do I remove this? Okay, let me go with something like movie at index of I. Is there an erase function? There's erase. Okay, dot erase. I want to erase something. I want to erase my movie name. Movie name variable. There we go. I can't use the erase. Can you run the code? Honestly, I feel like I'll get it. Let me just remove this real quick. Okay, let me start off by returning 0 real quick before I run the code. Let me go ahead and return 0. If I want to save the code and run the command, let's see. You have a defined static array, so you can't remove elements. Oh, I can't? So is it like invalid to use array for this kind of question? Okay, let me enter a movie. Guys, I don't watch movies. What are movies? Let me go with movie name. Movie 1. Okay, enter a movie to remove. I want to remove movie 1. Okay, Okay, you need a vector. Ask ChatGPT Sensei. Honestly, yeah, let me go ahead and go with Control A, Control C, get Sensei slash ChatGPT. Honestly, yeah, I don't think that we could remove something from. Let me actually ask. Let's go with Shift Enter and say, Sensei, someone from my stream asked me a question and said that dot dot dot. Let's see. So I needed to create a array of movies which consists of 5 elements dot dot dot. Okay, which consists of 5 elements. Then ask the user to fill in those 5 elements. Okay, what was the next part? After adding the 5 elements, I needed to display everything inside of my array, all the movies, and then ask the user to remove a movie. Then ask the user to remove a movie, and if the movie exists in my array, I remove it, else I print that movie does not exist dot dot dot. Although I think that we can't remove stuff from an array since it's static question mark. Is this a question that requires a vector? Let's see, ask ChatGPT how to remove an element from an array. Also, erase takes position to erase. Oh, I see, not a value. Okay, let's see. Can you guys see the whole thing? Okay, exactly, Vivek, you got it. You're right on the money. Static erase, static string movie 5 have a fixed size. You cannot actually remove an element. You can override it or mark it as empty. If you want true removal, shifting elements, or dynamic resizing, you need vector. So this question is either a trick question to see if you notice the limitations, or it expects you to use a vector. 2 approaches: array version, workaround, ask the user to enter a movie to remove, search it in the array. If you found, replace it with an empty string or remove. Oh, I could replace it. Print the array afterwards. Vector version, real removal, ask the user to oh, I see. Okay, in that case, it's going to be easy to remove. I see. Okay, static array are like stone swords, strong, but you can't change their size. Vectors are like steel, flexible, and deadly. Okay, guys, I see. That was such a silly mistake that I made. Okay, so if something is found, I'm gonna do something. Let's see. So I could go something like outside my if statement here and add another if statement. If a pair of parentheses, if my found variable is set to true, I do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces, and then let me go ahead and replace my movie at index of I. Actually, okay, so I'll go with something like my movie name equals to a empty space. Okay, I'll just go with an empty string, ending with a semicolon. Oh, I'm not checking your limitations. Today I was learning the list. There we can do this. I also wanted to see if we can do or not. Oh, I see. Okay, so if found, I print something like this. I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like, this movie was removed. You should have 2 loops. Should I? Honestly, oh, actually, yeah, that does make sense. Enter a movie. Okay, I think I should have 2 loops because. Okay, let me go ahead and copy this part and add this in a second loop. Let me copy that. One to enter movies and the other to remove movies. Okay, actually, that does make sense. So let me go ahead and add another for loop. So I'll go with 4, a pair of parentheses, 2 to search and remove. Okay, so for every integer of I which equals to 0, while my I is less than, let's say, 5, I'll increment my I by 1. So I plus plus, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces, and then paste all this. Maybe zoom out. Okay, so I have a boolean variable of found, a standard string of movie name, enter a movie to remove, standard console input. Okay, so if my movies at index of I equals to my movie name that my user enters, okay, found equals to true, my movie name, honestly, Okay, let's do something like my movie at index of I equals to an empty space. This makes more sense. I switch that movie with an empty space. If found, prints this was removed, exclamation, with another insertion operator. You're doing something wrong, am I? Okay, let me just try with a forward slash new line, and then add a else clause, so I'll go with else, a pair of curly braces, a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like, this movie does not exist, exclamation with another insertion operator of a forward slash new line ending with a semicolon. If I were to hit Ctrl S to save the code and run the command, okay, let's see, enter a movie. I don't watch movie, guys. I'll go with movie 1, okay, and then movie 2, movie 3, wait, movie 1, enter a movie. Okay, I remember doing this mistake a while ago, guys. I add a movie, okay, standard console input. Okay, let me go ahead and remove this from here. After my entire loop, I want to print it just once. You could instead use a struct that contains a value variable or string type is empty variable of boolean type. Honestly, I've not learned about structs yet. I might actually try that in the next stream. First loop enters movie without loop. Find movie to remove. Second loop. Oh, okay. Ask if user completely filled that array. Okay, actually I see. Okay, that does make sense. I don't actually need it for. Okay, wait, hold up. Enter a movie name. Let me go ahead and copy this part. Okay, let me delete that and paste it somewhere here. So outside my for loops, I ask the user for a movie name. Let me go ahead and copy my movie name, paste it right here. Okay, so I ask the user for a movie name here. Okay, and then I check if that movie name, so if movie at index of I equals to movie name, I replace my movie at index of I with an empty string. Okay, if you found the movie to remove, you already have its index. Honestly, yeah, so this is my index. If found, I go with this, else I go with that. Okay, I do need a complete list of my movies, so I could go with another for loop to print my movies array. Used for each loop. Honestly, I didn't hear about the for each loop. Somebody did say about that on stream. I didn't honestly work on that. I might go through that next stream. If you wanted to have an element to be possible, MTD standard library way of doing that is with a standard option, standard string. Oh, I see. That man is 2:26 a.m. Honestly, I think you should sleep in that case. There's no for each loop in CPP. Isn't there a for each loop? Add break if found. Okay, so if it's found, I'll go ahead and break my loop. So let me go ahead and break my loop. Honestly, before I break my loop, let me go ahead and I break here. There we go. Add fruit names or game names. Oh, that actually does make sense. Okay, so let me go ahead and add another for loop here. So I'll go with for a pair of parentheses. Let's say for every for every standard string of I don't know, movie in my vector of movies. Okay, I could change this to something like movies. There we go. Movies at index of I, movies at index of I. Okay, let me change that at index of I as well. Okay, let me change that to movies. That's not a for each loop, not inside if found for auto movie moves. That's a pair loop. I think it's called range-based for loop. Oh, okay, okay. I think it's called a reference-based for loop where I add like a. Do you guys mean like adding an and sign or something like that? Okay, that's gonna. Honestly, I feel that like replaces the whole vector itself. Okay, so right now I'm modifying a container. Oh, I could use a reference-based for loop. Although, where do I use it here? Huh. I should ask that part to Sansa actually. It's essential for each in other languages. I see. Okay, so for now, let's go with the pair of curly braces and go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert my movie with another insertion operator of an empty space. Outside my for loop, I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator of a standard end line. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Okay, movies that has movies has to be let me just do this. Okay, let's see. Movies has to he standard array or standard vector if you want to do that though. I see. What you're doing is wrong, I think so. Dot dot dot. I only know 2 languages that even have for each syntax keyword. Remove break, it should be inside if found. Okay, I see. Let me remove break. So if found that was removed, let me break my loop. Okay, let me go with a break. Huh. Okay, I came up by your video suddenly and I wanted to suggest you can use using namespace std in the second line, then you don't have to write std every time. Honestly, many people did recommend that. The reason I don't use using standard namespace std is because if we use that like in bigger projects, it could cause name conflicts. Using standard console output is more clear for like C++ to understand. Use fruit names or game names, that would be easy. Honestly, I should try that. Okay, so in my for loop, I add that if I hit Ctrl S to save the code and run the command, case not in all languages, calling it for each would be correct towards its behavior. I see. Okay, let's go with fruit names. I'll go with something like apple, banana. I spelled banana wrong. Let's go with peach, maybe cherry. Okay, enter fruit name or game name. Well, games, guys. I don't know much game name. Maybe, I don't know, Roblox. Okay, entry name to remove. I want to remove banana because I spelled it wrong. There we go. Let's go with Nan. That movie does not exist. Panan. This movie was removed. Okay, once the movie is removed, I want to print my array again. I added an else clause here, if found. Okay, found is set to true. Okay, if movies equals to that, found set to true. Let's go with an else clause here. Else, parentheses, found equals to false. Okay. Honestly, I think I need a break after I find. Okay, so let me go ahead and copy this for loop again. And then get that all the way down here. Paste it here. Okay, maybe go with a shift tab to de-indent. Then remove the for loop. Tap that. There we go. Okay, now if I hit Control S, run the code again. The modern CPP way to define a static array is to create a static array, standard string 5, and then you can use standard library member functions. I see it print removed on the first iteration. Huh. Okay, let me try adding movie names again. Let me go with apple, okay, banana, cherry, peach, I don't know, coconut. Okay, entry movie to remove. I want to remove, let's say coconut. Okay, I think I messed up somewhere. I mean, enter fruit names and you name a movie as apple. That's great. Honestly, yeah, the fruit names does sound. That was actually a pretty genius idea. Instead of writing like movie 1, movie 2. That said, let me paste it. Go with shift enter. Let's say I feel like I messed up exclamation. Okay, let's see. I think I messed up. Huh. Yes, here's what went wrong. Found inside the loop resets every iteration, so if you find a movie, the next iteration sets found equal to false again, printing inside the loop. You're printing the array for every iteration of the loop instead of once after removing. Else print does not exist too early, even though the movie exists later in the array. Print that it doesn't exist, break strategy, Okay, include IO stream. So first I add a boolean found outside my for loops or any loops in general. Or I ask the user for entering a movie, standard console output, movie. So these are my movies. I end the line. I go with another standard console output to exit or like to remove a movie. Then if movies is found, I see. Okay, then outside my for loop, I go with an if statement. If bound, I do that, else I do that. And then I print my updated movies. Stream quote, if you try to force the static to be dynamic, you'll break it. Know the limits and strike smart. I see. Disney Pixar presents Apple. Guys, is Apple like an actual movie? I've honestly never watched it. Okay, let's see. I think I understand where I messed up here. Firstly, I gotta add my boolean false. Let me copy that to be outside my loops. So this is like a global variable. Okay, and then I go with a for loop for I ask the user for a movie. I print my movies. So let me go with movies. So I could go with like a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like movies. Actually, let's go with a few hyphens. So 3 movies, another 3 hyphen with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. And then I add a for loop. These prints my movies. I end the line. And then I go with a standard console output to remove a movie name. Okay. And then I go with... Okay, let me remove this else clause from here. Okay, so if I find a movie, I flag it as true. So let's go with a comment that says mark as removed. Okay, and then I go ahead and break. I'd suggest not to rely on ChatGPT to verify your code as it can spot bugs harder in the long run. Instead, I recommend using dry run approach. Honestly, is dry run like debugging the code from here? Like there's like a debugging like C/C++ file. I need to figure that off like off stream. Okay, let's see. And then I get my if/else clause outside my for loop. Where does my for loop end? It starts there. I want to end my for loop right here. And then let's go ahead and... Actually, let me just remove this whole thing so it's like a bit readable. Okay. Now let's go with an if statement. So I could go with something like if a pair of parentheses move line 31 to 27. Brother, take this short form here solving this problem and upload it in short on channel. I'm going to check it later. I'm about to sleep. Honestly, I appreciate you, Otaku Words. I will actually try to like... Actually, I might just upload it as a short. I gotta like see the time. So it's like 1:57. Because like usually after streaming, I start studying. So I sometimes don't have time. But I will definitely try to upload it. 1:57. There we go. Okay, I'll definitely remember that off stream, guys. That said, if my found variable is set to true, I'm gonna do something. Okay, I'll add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like this movie was removed! Exclamation with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Let's go with an else clause, else a pair of parentheses. Use pen and paper and think about how the compiler will compile your code instead of relying on ChatGPT. Honestly, I usually do that. I don't use like pen or paper. I do like try visualizing the code. But like for the new concepts that I don't understand how it works, I do ask ChatGPT/Sensei to like actually explain me the concept. But I usually prefer understanding the code before I like use it. Okay, let's see. Let's go with an else clause. Else I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. Let's say something like this. Movie does not exist! Exclamation with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, if I were to hit Ctrl S to save the code, actually before I save the code, let me print my updated movies as list. So I'll go with like a for loop. Greetings, how are you doing, Captain? I appreciate you joining this stream. I never wrote down my code on paper. Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of bad with writing. I mean, honestly, I do write a lot like for memorizing my college stuff because there's a lot of memorizing to do, guys. That said, for let's say every standard string of movie in my vector of movies, I'll go with a pair of curly braces and add a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to print my movie. So movie, that is going to be separated by an empty space. Outside my for loop, let me go with a standard console output with an insertion operator of a standard end line, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and before my for loop, I could go with a standard console output as well with an insertion operator that says something like maybe 4 hyphens movies with another 4 hyphens and another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. If I were to save the code and run the command, let's see, it did a lot while I was learning the concepts and it did help. Honestly, I feel like everyone like got their different ways to actually like learn or enjoy coding or like they process. We just gotta like learn enough to like actually understand what helps us learn the best. Bro, best AI is Gork AI for coding. Tried? Honestly, I've never heard of Gork AI. I might actually try it. Let's go with apple and like banana. Da-da. I spelled banana wrong. Cherry and something like peach. And lastly, I don't know fruit name, guys. Coconut. There we go. Okay, these are the movies. I want to remove something. Since I spelled banana wrong, I want to remove banana. Banana. Okay, perfect. It was removed. This movie was removed. Apple, cherry, peach. Okay, perfect. Let me go with something like A, Control C, copy that, get some say slash ChatGPT here. Your best AI is Stack Overflow. I see. Honestly, I've never heard of Stack Overflow as well. I'm learning C++ and we don't use standard in most statements. Instead, at the top we use using namespace std. What's the difference? Honestly, there's not a much big of a difference when it comes to like basic projects like the stuff I'm doing right now. I could use using namespace std. The reason I do use standard console output is because in bigger projects, other libraries do have like console output, so that could cause name clashes. So if you use standard console output, that avoids name clashes, and it is like a pretty good practice to write it. We're not talking about writing code on paper, but the visualization example, a visualization of a memory block and how it's being modified after every operation. That actually does make sense. Yo, solve problem. Why not using namespace std removes naming conflicts with multiple libraries at once? Okay, I see. Da-da-da. Oh, let me go ahead and paste that. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so like, this is perfect for an array-based solution. You stored 5 movies correctly, you display the original list, although I don't take credit for this question because I did get help. You search and mark a movie as removed properly, you display the updated list like a removal. This is exactly how you handle removal with a static array. Can't shrink it, but you can mark the slot empty. Stream quote, a true coder knows how to work with limits, turns weakness into strategy, and still win the battle. If you are next week into a vector version where you actually erase the movie and shrink the list dynamically, it'll make your code more flexible in real world ready settings. Honestly, let's say I feel like I know how to do this with vectors. I was just struggling with arrays. That said, can we do another array related question mark? Okay, let's see. Absolute Vivek, let's crush another array question and really solidify this. Okay, here's your instructional based question. Array challenge. Create an array of 6 doubles called temperatures. Ask the user to input the temperatures for each day, print all inputs, print all the temperatures, find and print the highest temperature, find and print the lowest temperature, calculate and print the average temperature, round to 2 decimal places. Remember, use loops for input and output, use array for indexing temperature, use standard fix and standard set precision 2 for the average. Stream quote, guys, how many quotes Sensei is saying? Okay, to master arrays, you must face every element, calculate your strike, and never skip a single step. Okay, I do like the quotes though. It's something new from my previous streams. That said, let me go with the Control A, delete the whole thing. Let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces. Include a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream. I won't be using vectors, so I won't include vector. Instead, I will be including a pair of ankle braces. Let's go with IO man IP. Okay. Alright, next up, let me go ahead and typecast my main function to an integer by typing integer main. I'll go with a pair of curly braces, maybe a bunch of spaces, 1 up and tab. Okay, let's read the instructions now. Create an array of 6 doubles called temperatures. So let's go with a double of temperature. There we go. Okay, which is going to be consisting of 6 slots in it. You can use standard string array equals to standard string size for a dynamic array. Actually, I'll definitely ask that of Sensei next question because like many people have been saying me to like do standard string array. I should actually look what that is. Okay, next up, ask the user to input the temperatures for each day. Okay, so let's go with a for loop. For a pair of parentheses, let's go with for every integer of I which equals to 0. While my I is less than 0, I'm going to be incrementing my I by 1. Sensei just gives similar problem statements. Let's find something unique problem statement. Honestly, I might actually go with something unique next. I could like say something unique because what Sensei says ChatGPT gives me like easier problems and gradually increases the difficulty level. Vector is just a wrapper for pointer array. Oh, I see. Vector is just a wrapper for pointer array. That actually does make sense. Okay, next up, ask the user to input the temperature of each day. So I could go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like, oh, while my eye is less than 6. My bad, guys. I should pay more attention. Like, my attention span is like awful. Yes, but a vector is kind of bloated. No reason to use vector if you're going to do that. I see. Okay, so I'll say something like, enter a temperature for each day. Okay, enter a temperature. Okay, I'll end that with a semicolon. It's a small project. Okay, next up, I'll go with a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my temperatures this array at index of I. I'll end that with a semicolon. Next up, after all inputs, print all temperatures, find and print the highest temperature, find and print the lowest temperature, calculate and print the average temperature, rounded to 2 decimal places. Okay, let's see. So after getting all inputs, I get all my inputs here. Then let me exit off the for loop. I could go with a standard console output with an insertion operator of a standard end line, ending with a semicolon. So I have a new line now. Print all the temperatures. So let me go ahead and print all the temperatures. I'll go with for a pair of parentheses for the integer of I, which is equal to 0. Okay, while my I is less than 6, I'm going to increment my I by 1. And then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Guys, my laptop's charger is just getting over because I read my chats on my laptop. Give me a sec, guys. Let me just connect the charger real quick. Let me just plug that here. Okay, maybe. Give me a sec, guys. Let me find my charger real quick. It's right here. Okay, let me connect it. Okay, there we go. Alright, very good, guys. Hey, yo, please don't scam me. Scam you. Okay, next up, let's see. For the integer of I which equals to 0. While my I is less than 6, I'm going to do something. I++. Alright, perfect. Next up, find and print the highest temperature. Before that, I print all my temperatures. So let me go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert my, let's say, temperatures at index of I. My temperatures is array at index of I, which is going to be separated by an empty space. Okay, fix I which is less than 6L. I personally hate the standard console output with the insertion operator overload. I use standard print, but I think that's only available for C++23. Wait, something like standard print exists? I actually didn't know that. Funky is spinning facts. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is where I get my entire, array. Next up, find and print the highest temperature. So to print the highest temperature, I could load in a few variables. For example, I could go something like, okay, for highest temperature, let me go with something like boolean of highest temp, which equals to false. And then I'll go with something like a boolean for lowest temp, which equals to false as well. There we go. Okay, next up, I gotta go with an if statement. So I'll go with if a pair of parentheses. Okay, let's see. Should I go with like current temperature, like started with 0? You can use formatting with standard print. Honestly, I never knew that if standard print exists. Okay, what's the difference? Okay, find and print the highest temperature. So let's see, how could I find the highest temperature? I need a variable that equals to something. I could go with current temperature, which equals to... Oh, okay, I think I see. I think I understand. Okay, so let's go with something like a double, which equals to my current temp. Okay, my current temp, which equals to my temperatures is array at index of I ending with a semicolon. Okay, current temp. So a double current temp. There we go. So the standard print uses the advantage of standard format library from C++20. Oh, I see. Okay, so if my current temperature, okay, is greater than my, let's see, is greater than my temperature at index of I think I did it opposite. If my temperature at index of I is greater than my current temperature. Okay, guys, I think I got it at this here. Okay, if my temperature of index at index of I is greater than my current temperature, I'm going to do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and set my highest temperature variable to be equal to true. This is going to be lowercase true. Okay, that said, I'll go with another if statement, I think. Okay, let's go with another if statement. I might actually break here. Okay, I don't want to actually break just yet. Actually, let me break. Okay, I could go with another if statement. So I won't break. Instead, let me add another if statement. If a pair of parentheses, if my temperatures at index of I is, let's say, less than my current temperature. Okay, current temperature. Line 15 should be outside the loop. Current temperature, should it be outside? Huh. It should be outside the... Oh, I think because it iterates every this thing. Oh, okay, that does make sense because my temperature at index of I, it always iterates. Number is Boolean. Current temp greater than highest temp. Okay, let me get that outside my loop right here. So let me just remove that. How do I get rid of this? There we go. Okay, so let me get that there. Instead of I, I'll go with 0. There. Okay, that's why I suggested we need a dry run because otherwise we keep making silly mistakes even for simple programs. Instead of another if why not else statement. Honestly, because my first if statement is looking for my current temperature. I mean my whatchamacallit. My first if statement is looking for my highest temperature. In the other hand, I have like more than like 2 temperatures. So if I was like going with 2 temperatures, then and my first temperature is the highest, that would like automatically mean my second temperature is the lowest. But since I have like 5 different or 6 different temperatures, if I go with else, that doesn't check like for a specific smallest temperature or like the lowest temperature. Guys, I'm real bad at explaining. Move line 8 to line 14. Okay, line 8 to line 14. Okay, let's see, why do I need to move it to line 14? Okay, so right here. Does that make any sense? Does this like make a difference? Current temperature. You did not enter values yet? Oh, okay, let's see. I'll set my lowest temperature variable to be equal to true. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and so this as highest, that as lowest. Okay, so I gotta go with another standard console output. Should I like get this whole thing outside? It's not higher than current, then it has to be lower than current. I see. Okay, honestly guys, instead of writing this if statement inside of my for loop, I might write it outside. So after I print my actual, temperature, let me go ahead and create an index variable outside my for loop. So I could go with something like integer of index, which equals to, let's say, 0. Okay, and then let me copy these flags and get that under this as well. Okay, these are my Boolean flags. Next up, let me go ahead and get my temperature, this thing, copy that, get that here as well. Okay, perfect. Howding, KBCXC, is that how you pronounce your name? I appreciate you joining the stream. You can have a single variable outside the loop, highest temperature, initialize it to the first value. Then just set highest temperature equals to current temp if the highest. I see. Definitely, we can tell him what exactly he needs to do, but if he doesn't figure it out on himself and relies on us or ChatGPT, he's not going to learn anything. Honestly, I completely agree with that. Bro, you have better skills in C++ than me in Python. Guys, it's all about practice, guys. I feel like I feel like once we get the basics down, then we just gotta get used to these syntaxes and like the way what you call it, the program talks, if that made any sense. Okay, let's see. Okay, so index 0, I removed all those. Let me get this if statement outside the for loop. Okay, so let me just delete that part, go there, add a if statement here. Okay, there. Instead of going with I, after I do that, let me set my index variable to be equal to I. Okay, and let me change that to index. Okay, so if temperatures at index equals okay, there we go, highest temperature, lowest temperature. You do not have values of temp at line 11. I don't have values of temp at line 11. Oh, okay, yeah, that actually makes sense. The reason I actually don't have values is because I didn't enter anything. I entered after my those for loops. So line, maybe under line 15. There we go. Okay, that actually makes sense. Okay, double. Alright, perfect. So I add those. Let's add another if statement now. If okay, if a pair of parentheses, if highest temperature, I do want to print highest temperature. Okay, so if highest temperature is set to true, I'll do something. Should I go with a for loop? So if my highest temperature is set to true, then I want to print my highest temperature inside of my array. So I would have to iterate over my array. How doing, Manish? I appreciate you joining this stream. Index always will be 6. Okay, let's see. Let me go with another for loop actually. So maybe I zoom in a bit. Okay, now let's add a for loop. So I'll go with for a pair of parentheses. Guys, did my stream start to lag again? Okay, so for let's say every double of, I don't know, what was I looking at? Temperature. For every double of temp in my array of temperatures, I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then add a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert something. Let's see. Okay, so I got to add an if statement instead of an insertion operator. You can include that in the first for loop. Honestly, could I? Oh, actually, I could actually do that because whatchamacallit, once these variables is set to true, that affects my actual global variable, and then I could use that global variable inside of my initial for loop right here. Actually, okay, I could do that, but do I want to do it? Let me add a space here. There we go. I could actually add that inside this. Probably double temp. Okay, I think I could add that inside of my this for loop, but first I'll try it here, and then if it works, I'll go with there. Okay, so if a pair of parentheses, if my highest temperature variable is set to true, I'll do something. I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to print my temp variable. There we go, with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then let's add an else if. Okay, I can go with else if a pair of parentheses, my lowest temperature, if that is set to true, I'll do something. Let me go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert my temp variable with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. There we go. So I print the highest temperature and I print the lowest temperature. Although before that I could go with like another standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like lowest temperature. Should I go with a few hyphens? There we go. I'll try a few hyphens. Okay, and let me try that here as well. Why are you using this portrait view for Google Live rather than using landscape view? Honestly, because right now, which we call my mini PC, the CPU can handle OBS and all my 50 different plugins. Although I am like saving up, or like actually I am looking for a new PC. Once I get that PC and I build that PC, I will be streaming vertically and horizontally on YouTube. That said, I will be streaming on Twitch, Kick. Actually, I'll be streaming on Twitch, Kick, TikTok, and even Instagram at the same time. But for now, my mini PC can handle that. That's why I get all these stream lags and everything. But once I get the actual PC, that's gonna be pretty good. Okay, do you think we can use higher temp and lower temp as booleans? Honestly, the reason I added these variables or use type double, honestly, the reason I use these as flags as boolean values is for flags to check if my if my current temperature, which is my temperatures, is array at index of 0, so my first element inside of my array of temperatures, if that number is either less than my temperatures at index of index, which is my current temperature. So it finds my highest temperature, or my it finds my largest element inside of my array, and if that element is the largest element, it sets that flag to be true. So I have that current flag right now. If that made any sense, ask ChatGPT your far from solution or use type double. Honestly, I do want to ask Sensei, but I do want to try doing this real quick. I want to just run the command and see what happens. Okay, / end line. That said, for here, let me go ahead and why does the else? Okay, the else if does show this, so okay, let me change that to an else instead in that case. There we go. Let me go ahead and add a standard console output here as well. Standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to be my highest temp, so I'll go with a few hyphens. This is going to be highest temp. Okay, with 4 more hyphens, with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, lastly, let me go ahead and return 0. Okay, if I were to save the code and run the command, let's see. It says entry temperature. I'll go with something like 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Entry temperature 60 degrees, 98 degrees. You can ask ChatGPT. You can ask Chat instead of ChatGPT. Honestly, that sounds pretty good as well, guys. Okay, let's go with something like 75, and then 98, 99. Oh, okay. This should go outside my for loop. Highest temperature is 60, lowest temperature, wait, that's all my temperatures. Okay, let me actually try asking. I'll go with Control A, Control C. It's a disaster right now, honestly, yeah, it is. Okay, let's get Sensei / ChatGPT here. Let me paste it, go with Shift Enter. Say Sensei, I feel like I messed up, exclamation. Maybe drink some water to process everything. Okay, yes, Vivek, I see where this went off the rails. Here's the problem breakdown. Highest temperature and lowest temperature are just booleans. You're not actually tracking the highest or lowest value. Okay, just saying yes/no for the last element. Current temperature never updates. You set it to temperature at index of 0 and never compare properly while scanning. Printing inside the wrong loop for double temperature. Loop is printing all temperatures as highest and lowest, which is not what you want. Strategy to fix: have 2 double variables, example highest and lowest. Oh, somebody did say to add double variable. Okay, that does make sense. Why did Nightbot like delete the messages? Oh, I think because it's like okay, guys, I don't know why did Nightbot like delete the message. I should like check that out. Avoid using excessive caps. Bro, debug yourself. Don't ask ChatGPT. Honestly, yeah, I'm not like asking for the answer. I'm just trying to get like or see where I messed up. So initialize both the first element of the array loop through the array. If a temperature is greater than highest, update highest. If a temperature is less than lowest, update lowest. Use another loop to print all temperatures. Calculate average by summing and dividing by 6. Okay, I think I see. Okay, let's see. So instead of going with Boolean flags, let me go with a double. So I'll go with something like double. inside of my main function is 6. Let me change that to double as well. Okay, so double temperature. I need to set this to something though. Okay, empty variables maybe? Oh, for getting the Discord, I think you type like hashtag Discord. Just type it. Okay, there we go. I think that should work. Okay, for every integer of I which equals to 0, so I ask the user double current temperature equals to temperature at index of 0. Okay, so the place where I could mess up could be somewhere here most likely. For every integer, when I find a number, okay, if my temperature at index of index is greater than my temperature, my highest temp equals to my temperature's array at index of my index variable. Okay, I do the same thing for my lowest temperature. So temperatures at index of index. Discord link is not clickable. Honestly, people do sometimes say me that the Discord link is expired. Let me actually get a fresh link. Although I do set it to like never expire. I don't know for some reason why does it like expire. Why using current temp? Honestly, the current temp is for my actual temp right now. Let me just get my Discord link. Okay, let me go ahead and copy that. Okay, maybe open my stream on my PC. Just do step by step. Okay, give me a sec, guys. Okay, there we go. Let me paste that. Okay, guys, that link should work. That's like the Discord link. Okay, as the Stack Overflow forum, you can get a lot of help from experienced C++ developers and not wrong information from ChatGPT. You'll actually learn a lot better. Honestly, I might actually try that. Okay, let's see. So, lowest temperature equals to temperature at index of index. Okay, how are you doing, Walchris? I appreciate you joining the stream. Is that how I pronounce your name? Walchris? Okay, so I set the temperatures. My current temp is my current temperature. So where's my current temp at? There we go. Temperatures at index of 0. Let me get this outside my for loop. So let me copy that. Paste it here. Okay, maybe delete these. Okay, and then let me add another for loop for my lowest temperature. So let me copy this part. Delete that. Okay, and then go with another for loop. So I'll go with something like for pair of parentheses. Think about using highest temp. Think about using highest temp. Okay, so for a pair of parentheses, if highest temperature. Okay, I'm not going to be adding an if statement here. Instead, my highest temp equals to my temperature at index of index. So let me remove this whole for loop from here. C++ is easy until you start building server and calls, sys calls, and start building big projects with thousands of lines. You missed the step. Just do step by step. Okay, I missed a step. So first step is that the highest temperature. I set that equal to my temperature at index of index. Think about what the highest temp will be at. Think about what the highest temp will be at the start of the loop. You don't need current temp. Don't I need current temp? Honestly, I think actually that does make sense. Instead of current temp, I could just go with my temperature at index of 0. Let me go ahead and copy that. Okay, let me paste that here. Temperature at index of 0. Just remove that. Control V. Paste that here as well. Okay, I didn't set this to anything. Let me set those to 0 by default. There we go. Or maybe go with the Control Z. There we go. Okay, let's see. So if my temperature at index of index is greater than my temperature at index of 0, highest temp equals to temperature at index of index. Same thing for the lowest temperature. I go with my highest temperature here. Let's add a standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, I want to print my highest temp variable. So I'll go with highest temp variable with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. That said, let me go with another standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to be lowest temperature. So I'll go with 4 hyphens, lowest temp. Okay, with another 4 hyphens, with an insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. what was the question? I joined late. Honestly, the question was to like ask the user, let's see, ask the user for 6 temperatures and store those temperatures in a array of double. And then let's see, I gotta print all my temperatures. Later, I gotta find the highest temperature in my array, print it, and the lowest temperature in my array and print it. It was just to find the highest temperature and lowest temperature from the array. Okay, next up, let me go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to be my lowest temperature. Okay, with another insertion operator, a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, I feel this should be correct. If I hit Ctrl S to save the code and run the command, read steps from ChatGPT and just do one by one. Honestly, I usually prefer doing one by one. Okay, so let's go with 99 degrees Fahrenheit, 77, 63 degrees Fahrenheit, maybe 43 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's go with 0 degrees Fahrenheit and 97 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, highest temperature is 0, lowest temperature is 97. Okay, I think I should change this to be, whatchamacallit, let me change that to less than and this to greater than. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and remove that. Under my for loop here, let's go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to be all temperatures, so I'll go with all temps. Okay, with 4 hyphens. Let me add 4 hyphens here as well. With another insertion operator of a / new line. Okay. And then let me go ahead and add a standard console output with another insertion operator of a standard end line with a semicolon. If I would hit Ctrl S to save the code and run the command, I bet it can be done in a single for loop where you can compare every temperature. If it's lower or higher, then update accordingly. Oh, that actually does make sense. I actually should try it like that. Okay, so 99, 97, 66, 77, I don't know, 54. I went with 5 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, let's go with 88. There we go. That's all my temps. That's the highest temp. That's the lowest temp. Why is the 99 the highest temp and why is 88 the highest temp? Let me just copy that part. Get that here. Okay, that's actually a pretty good question. Right there. Then just print your result. Why are you doing comparison outside the loop? Honestly, because whatchamacallit, inside the loop, I did get the index of my numbers, so I do have like an index variable here. And I set my index variable to be my I, which is inside of my loop. I'm just doing it outside the loop for like readability. Two-step implementation is wrong. Two-step implementation is wrong. Is this wrong? Okay, if my temperature at index of index, this is my current temperature which keeps increasing by 1. Okay, if that is less than my temperature at index of 0, my first temperature. Okay, I set my highest temp to be equal to my temperatures at index of index. If temperature at index of index is greater than 0, okay, that's at index of 0. Okay, I might actually also part this. The index will always be 5 after the loop. Read GPT steps. Okay, let's read these steps. Okay, so first it says have 2 double variables, highest and lowest. I have 2 double variables of highest and lowest. Initialize both to fix the first element of the array. Initialize both. Okay, to the first element. I did initialize both to be the first element of my... Wait, hold up guys. What happens if I go with temperature at index of 0 here and temperature of index of 0 here as well? Okay, temperature at index of 0. Okay, now your current implementation keeps updating the index until it becomes 5, which is the last value in the loop for the I to the comparison with the index, which is 5. Wait, in that case, should I like, add a break statement or something? Like once I find... Oh wait, I could get these inside my for loop in that case and then add a break once I find the highest temperature. Okay, that does make sense. Okay, let's see. So it says initialize both the first element of the array. I did that. Move line 9, 10 to 16. Move line 9 and 10 to line 16. Okay, let's copy my line 9 and 10. Control C to copy, move it to line 16. Okay, right here. Okay, let me move it here. Okay, let's see why did I move it here though. Maybe I'll go with an enter. Okay, so when do I initialize them? That's temperatures. Oh, okay, I see. So the reason I moved it here is because I add my temperatures later. I don't add it like inside. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, let's see next up. Loop through the array if temperature is greater than highest. Okay, update highest. If a temperature is less than lowest, update lowest. No, you can't break because you have to check all values anyways. That does make sense. No values in array or get help from chat but not chat GPT. Okay, I'd suggest getting advice and support from Stack Overflow from professionals instead. It's a safer bet. Honestly, I might actually try that later. Okay, let's see. That's highest temp, that's lowest temp. For every integer of I which equals to 0, I is less than 6, I increment I by 1, standard console output, index I. Okay, so that's where I print all my elements. Now, if my highest temperature, if my temperature at index of index is less than my temperature at index of 0, I print that temperature. If my temperature, that's lowest temperature. Okay, I go with highest temp, lowest temp. Okay, I think I see. What happens if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command? Okay, let's see. Let's add a few temperatures. 99, 78, 63, 87, 96, maybe, I don't know, 55. There we go. Highest temperature 55, lowest temperature 99. Lowest is 99. Okay, I think I just need to switch these. Greater than and less than. There we go. That's going to be less than. Step 1, read temperatures. So first you move to the comparisons outside the loop, then try thinking from there. Oh, I see. Okay, let me go with the Control S again. Step 2, loop over temperatures. Okay, I did loop over for every integer I. Okay, take temperature input, then highest temperature equals to temperature. If temperature is less than lowest temperature equals to temp. Try doing this in a single loop and you will pass this easily. I see. Step 3, inside loop, compare if your current temp, example temperature at index of I is greater than highest temperature. If true, update the highest temperature. Okay, I think this did work. So let's go with 99, 88, 75. I'll go with 66. Let's go with something like 33, maybe 54. There we go. These are all my temperatures. Highest temperature is 99, lowest temperature is 54. Okay, it's not 33. All after line 23 is wrong. Read step 3. Okay, let's see. Step 3, inside a loop, compare your current temperature. Line 23 is right here. Okay, so everything after this is wrong. Okay, let me go ahead and copy that real quick. Paste that part here. Okay, so read step 3. Compare if your current temperature index of I is greater than highest temperature. If true, update the highest temperature. At the end after loop, just print highest temperature. At the end after loop. So, okay, I don't think that I should get my, temperatures in. Honestly, I actually might get my if statement inside my for loop. Let me try that. That's why I hate people who try learning through GPT totally clueless. Honestly, I do like have an I do have an idea, but I just need more practice on questions like these. Because like it is like my first day learning about arrays. Inside loop lines 20 to 23. 20 to 23. Okay. Let's see. Once I do that, standard console output, these are all temperatures. Okay, highest temperature, and then I print my temperatures. Okay, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, you need to put the comparisons in a loop. At the moment you're only comparing if the first number is less than the fifth number. You need to put the comparisons in a loop. Okay, let's try. So I'll go with 99, 65, 77, 83, I don't know, 62. And lastly, 0. Highest temperature 99, lowest temperature 0. Okay, I think that part worked. Let me try again though, just to confirm if it works. Okay, so let's go with something like 88, 97, 25 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know, maybe like 83 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's go with 99 degrees Fahrenheit, 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Highest temperature 99, lowest temperature 75. Okay, the lowest temperature is 25. Okay, wait. I think the reason it shows 75. Okay, I think. Okay, let's see why does it show 75. It is 6. Put I in place of 0 of temperatures at index of 0. Okay, that's where I messed up. Okay, I should have changed this to I. Guys, I should pay more attention on my codes. Okay, let's go with the controllers to save the code. If I run the command, oh yeah, that was the reason I got my if statements inside of my for loop to like have access of I instead of index 0. Okay, let's go with 99, 75, 63, 82. Let's go with like 89 and like 77. Okay, highest temperature 99, lowest temperature 99. Okay, let's see why is my highest and lowest giving me the same exact temperature. Read step 3 again. Inside loop, compare if your current temperature is greater than highest temperature. So if my current temperature, okay, is greater than my highest temperature, temperatures at index of index instead of this current temperature. Temperatures at index. Both are the exact same thing. Temperatures at index of I is the same as. Okay, hold up. The two of them are the same thing, guys. I feel like I should focus instead of reading the chat. You should pay attention on logic rather than just focusing on core and sensei at all. Honestly, I usually do focus on logic. I'm like way too deep in reading the chats. Okay, guys, let me actually try figuring this out real quick. I actually kind of need to focus real quick. Okay, let's see. If temperatures at index of index, so I can go with that index of index because let me remove that index variable. Okay, I don't need that index. Let me remove that as well. Okay, now let's see. Guys, give me a sec. I won't read the chat like for 3 minutes. I gotta focus real quick. Okay, so I'll remove these indexes. Instead, I gotta find my current temperature. So my current temperature is going to be my temperatures array at index of 0. Okay, let's get that at index of 0. This is going to be I. That's going to be I. There we go. Okay, so firstly, if my temperature at index of 0 is greater than my temperature at index of I print my highest temperature. If my temperature at index of 0 is less than my temperature at index of I, okay, perfect. I think that should fix it. If I hit Control S to save the code, remove temperature at index of index instead make it highest temperature and lowest temperature. You should see if the temperature is lower than the lowest temperature. Huh. Okay, let's try this. So I'll go with 99, 83, 85, 75, 77, 63. Okay, highest temperature 63, lowest temperature 99. Okay, I'd say this is a slight improvement. I just gotta change this to less than and that to greater than. Current temperature is temperature index of I. Instead of temperature index of 0, make it highest and lowest temperature. Highest, okay, so my highest temperature is temperature index of 0. Oh, I see, okay. Let's go with highest temperature and lowest temperature. Okay, I think they both should work the exact same way. Okay, now if I run the command, if temperature index of I, okay, let's go with something like 99, 83, 77, 65, 45, I don't know, 79. Highest temperature 99, lowest temperature 45. Excuse me, guys. Okay, perfect. It actually works. So excuse me again, guys. Hi, bro. How are you doing? Manny Canada, is that how you pronounce your name? I appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, all I gotta do now is replace this, copy that part, delete that. Okay, get that above my for loop. Let me paste it here. Okay, now if I hit Control S to save the code, but you mistakenly swap the operators, return them. I swap the operators. Okay, let's see, guys. I figured it out. Honestly, I don't take credit for this question. Now, now it's correct. Guys, I don't take any credit for this question. I do need more practice with these questions, but I am starting to understand how arrays work. I'm too dumb for programming. Honestly, guys, I don't think anyone is too dumb for programming, because when I first started programming, learning Python, I was actually a complete idiot. I think that repetition is what actually 9933. There we go. I think repetition is what actually helps us improve, because before I actually started programming, I used to spend a lot of time in Discord, 12 hours or 10 hours a day on Discord. So yeah, I didn't have any idea on anything basically, but I just used spend the time instead of on. I did use that time instead of spending on Discord. I spent on programming. That did help a lot. Okay, where are you from? Honestly, I used to say this a lot in my previous streams, but people did say me not to say that, or not to say what country I'm from. Although I did say it in this stream by mistake, so I think it's fine. I am currently in the United States. Although, guys, I won't be saying this in every stream, because people do say it's kind of dangerous to say that. Whoop, you got there. Okay, yes, Vivek, this is perfect. You input all temperatures correctly, you track highest and lowest temperature properly while looping, you print all temperatures and result clearly. The only thing missing is the average, and remember you wanted to round it to 2 decimal places using... Oh, I forgot about that. Okay, you're so close to mastering arrays. Of a extreme quote. The array will never lie. Master every element and you master your code. Okay. So I had to add average and even round my numbers off. Okay, I did forget that part. Okay, let me try that. Hey, here's a suggestion from me. Write additional code that also calculates the number in float and rounds the answer of the average to 2 digits. That would be a pretty good mental exercise in coding. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense. I should try that. Make it calculate average temperatures. Whoa, finally, now I can leave in peace. I appreciate you sticking through the stream, Anu. Okay, I think you should whatchamacallit, take your leave right now. I'll catch you in the next stream. Okay, finally my ADHD is relaxed till next question. Yes, guys, okay, I won't make this mistake again, guys. Okay, that said, let's see. Let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator of a standard, let's say, fixed, with another insertion operator of a standard, let's say, set precision. Okay, there we go. Okay, set precision. My precision is going to be set to 2 decimal points, ending with a semicolon. How to learn C++ program? Honestly, the way I learn is by just doing a lot of practice questions until actually understand the concept. That said, different people honestly have different ways they can actually process or learn stuff. Okay, so I just say to keep learning the code every single day, keep programming every single day until you don't actually figure out what helps you the most. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I do return 0 here. I gotta find the average as well. Okay, so the average of all temperatures. So I could go with a total variable. Let me go ahead and create a total variable right here. So I'll go with something like double total, which equals to 0, and then something like a double average variable as well, which equals to 0 as well. Okay, now I get my averages here. I want to get the average of all temperatures. So let me go to a new line. Let me go with something like Shift Tab. Okay, perfect. Let me go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. Join Discord. I will guide you in all learning C++. Honestly, yeah, I do appreciate all helps, guys, because I am a complete idiot when it comes to this. That said, I'll go with average of all temps. Yeah, I'll go with 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 more hyphens here. Okay, happy to be a mentor for anyone who is willing to give their time and brainstorming. Honestly, yeah, I do having a whole channel for related to coding help. If you wanted, I could give you the coding help for someone channel or the role. That's it. Let's go to the / new line. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and find the average. To find the average, I gotta find the total. Okay, first I gotta get the total number of all my temperatures. So I printed my temperatures here. Let's set my total as well. So, highest temperature, lowest temperature. Under here, are you solving DSA question or what? Honestly, I'm just trying to master arrays in C++. That's it. I do want to eventually work with DSAs because many people did say me to start DSA. Okay, that said, let's see. Okay, so I'll go with something like my total variable, which is going to be equal to my total plus my temperatures is array, so temperatures at index of I. Okay, I'll end that with a semicolon. And then for my average, let me go ahead and create an average variable as well. I'll create that outside of my for loop. So I could create that somewhere here. Okay, average equals to 0. Okay, so let me go with a standard console output with an insertion operator and say something like, what's my average? Okay, my average of all temperatures is going to be the sum of all numbers, which is my total. Okay, so let me reassign my average as well. Average equals to my total divided by, how many temperatures do I have? 6. So divided by 6. Okay, are you in college? Honestly, I am in college. I'm pretty like, that's the reason I can't stream as much as I used to stream before. Before I used to stream like for 5 to 6 hours. That said, these days I do stream around 2 hours on the weekends and like, I mean for 2 hours on the weekdays and about 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours on the weekends, depending on how much homework I have. Join this Discord, then we can talk there. Okay, if you just write using namespace std on top, you don't have to do std each time. Honestly, the reason I do add namespace, I mean I don't use that, is to avoid like name conflicts in like bigger projects. Okay, and in case guys, in case that Discord server link is not working, this should work. Let me just go with the control C. Okay, let me just delete all that. I pasted the wrong link, guys. Okay, let me go here real quick. Okay, let's see. Already, mic testing, mic testing. Let me go to my gameplay screen. Guys, my OBS crashed again. I need to get the whatchamacallit, I need to get a new PC like ASAP. Okay, there we go. I feel that now it's fine. If you guys didn't see what I did, first I set in my average to be equal to my total, like the sum of all my numbers divided by my total number of numbers inside of my array, which is 6. And then I added a standard console output with an insertion operator of my average variable and type degrees Fahrenheit. If I hit Ctrl S to save the code and run the command, let's see, it says enter a temperature. I'll go with something like 99, 76, 54, 63, 77, and something like 98. Okay, these are all my temperatures. That's the highest temperature, that's the lowest temperature, that's the average of all my temperatures. Perfect. Let's go with the Control C. Do a space before the word degree. Oh, actually, yeah, that does make sense. Although for degrees, I remember we could have typed something like 0176 to like get the degree sign. I forgot how to do that. Was it like Alt 0176? Let me try Alt 01. Okay, so Alt 0176. Oh, there we go. There we go, guys. I knew it was something like this. Okay, degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, this would look much better. Let's go with the Control S, save the code. If I run the command again, let's see, I'll go with 99, 93, 77, 65, 43, 66. Okay, that does not print. That is not like a degree sign. Okay, that's it. This is the average. Let me go with the Control C, copy the code, get sensei/ChatGPT here. There we go. Okay, let me go ahead and paste this. Go with Shift, Enter, and say, let's say it works, although I don't take credit for this question. Because I did get help from you and by chat. ... That said, I am planning to end the stream because I have some college work to do. So before I end the stream, is there anything that you want to say to the viewers? Question mark. Okay, let's see. Guys, I need to fix my typos honestly, and I hope my OBS doesn't crash. Don't have it crashing again, guys. Lagging a little. That said, listen up to on. Already, mic testing. Guys, this is sometimes so annoying. My OBS crashes way too much. I need a PC like ASAP. That said, listen up, viewers. Today, Vivek took on arrays like a true coding warrior. We learned how to store multiple values in an array, loop through items, find the highest, lowest, and calculate average, display everything cleanly with decimals. Remember, coding is not about doing it alone, it's about facing challenges, asking questions, and keep pushing until the program does what you want. Stream quote to take home. Every line of code is a step towards mastery. Fail, learn, and come back even stronger. Go study Vivek, but come back ready to smash more code tomorrow. Okay, that's it. Let me go to my main camera. Alrighty guys, so that was basically it for the stream. I do want to stream longer. That said, I have like a lot of stuff to like complete for college, a lot of homework. So if you guys enjoyed the stream, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, like helps with my algorithm, sharing makes you smile, and subscribing is like a cherry on top. And guys, once I get my actual PC, that is going to fix like all this lag issues. And also I will be trying to stream on whatchamacallit, let's see, on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at the same time. So if you guys enjoy my content and haven't followed me there, and make sure to follow me there and also join the Discord server. That said, I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video.